This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be watching the iRacing Esports Network. Thank you. We are going to be here down in a little town called Bristol, and we're going to be racing at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Coliseum of oval racing here for the Majors Series. It is the Short Track Nationals here on the iRacing Esports Network. Hello everybody, I'm Cameron Walsh, and David Haynes and Nolan Rempel, as well as Hugo Louis in the production. We're going to be presenting this fine event for you to enjoy. As we know that the Major Series is a long series of a challenge. Every single type of car you could imagine, every single combination you could possibly envision. It is here in the Majors Series, and this is the European split. And we are going to be enjoying it here down at Bristol Motor Speedway with the super late model. It is not going to be a stock car race that you normally know. For these European drivers, they are going to be looking at the difficulty that is the super late model. These cars are highly tuned, highly specialized. An F1 car that goes around in corners with mechanical precision. Well, these super late models are built for nothing but these corners. So let's get right on into it. We'd love to talk about introductions and stuff like that, but we don't have the time for it. Cars are rolling right now. This is not the main event because that would be silly. This is the one of the heats that is going to be setting up for the main event. So we're going to look at some of the names right now. Christian Chalmier, Eric Mickey's here, Kurt Crum, Joshua Wolf's here, Jan Mlazia is here, Sylvian Mayald is here, plus a bunch of other names, and we'll go on over to David first, and Mr. David Haynes, as the pace car is getting ready to pull in. We'll bring you in. Lights are out on at the Mustang. This is going to be a pretty massive challenge here. It's a super late model car, and once they start getting and rolling and get themselves sorted in, we're going to talk about just the difficulties of dealing with this. I mean, this is a massive engine. These cars are specifically built tube frame chassis. The amount of suspension geometry that these things use as they're going on yet another pace lap, which always it makes me
always
just
2 degree.
Always, yeah, I know, but it seems like it always shouldn't be. Is actually Christian Chalmier will not wait until they clear the corner. He wants to go, he'll rock and roll, and that throws ourselves into the half-mile dome that is Bristol Motor Speedway. And David, well, this is super late model action here, as you're already seeing some free wide backed in the 5th position. This is a very short track, very specialized car, and some very notable names here.
Yeah, exactly. So for this round of the Majors Championship, it's 2 25-lap heat races. This is one that's underway. Then there'll be a last chance qualifying of 50 laps, and then a final of 100 laps. There's going to be no cautions, no pit stops expected in this heat, but that's something to keep our eyes on later on. And of course, as they get longer into a stint, expect the preferred driving line to change. We're on board with Aldous Putakalis right now. He's using the low line, but you can see that very early on, running it up high seems to be the preferred way to carry the momentum around this circuit.
Yeah, and somebody's already had an issue. Mason Marzolf has found himself having an issue. The car with a face on it, as he'll have to pull in and get himself sorted out. He will not be advancing, as it's the 666 car is apparently of Yildiz Puteklius had another issue, and Nolan, you got to see that one.
I did indeed, and there was actually David Baker that turned that number 666 car going into turn number 1 on the front straightaway, tipped that car right up and over into the wall. So already a big incident for Aldis Putiklis. Forgive me if I got the pronunciation on that one all wrong, as we're still racing. There's going to be a lot of tight action today going on here as well at Bristol.
Yes, we're seeing the replay of that one as well. And yeah, that is just, I can't say it's easy to do, but my goodness me. It's not what you want to see here, David, because the top 7 are what's going to be advancing to the finale here, as we've got just a 25-lap race here, and we're already 9 laps in, and Christian Chalnier, he took the green as soon as he could, and he is just running away with it.
Yeah, but great jump from the lead. It's second on back where this great racing is happening. We're watching Eric Mika. He's one of championship hopefuls. He's in the top 10 for the Pro Division. He's racing door-to-door right now with Raul Valverde. Very, very close race there. Of course, if you're in the championship hunt or you've got aspirations of that, then you really cannot afford to not lock in one of those top 7 transfer spots in this race. Of course, there's still the last chance qualifying, but you probably don't want to have that kind of anxiety on your nerves, that kind of pressure, if you're any of the championship guys.
No, I think you would want to be safe and secure, but Darwin Mainz is running to the inside here of the kinetic racing car of João Valverde. And it's sort of if you take it too passively at a place like Bristol, you are going to get knocked around quite heavily. And if you take it too aggressively, well, you're going to find yourself parked in the wall as somebody takes a very, very late dive. That's a Torque Freak racing car, the number 48 to the inside. Joshua Wolf, but he'll get himself turned around. Michael Lane finds himself sending Joshua Wolf up and over. Very unfortunate for him. And, well, Nolan, that's 2 now that we've sent over onto the top.
And Michael Lane, of course, hitting the outside wall, of course, on the front straightaway as well. And they actually did have some contact as well coming into turn number 1 before that incident. Joshua Wolf was actually 7th in the standings as well, as we've just found out. So that could be a big points shakeup as well for your overall championship standings as well here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's a rough situation. It's so easy to have this happen where you could find yourself as Eric Mickey is now working himself through some lap traffic here of Luke Lampers. He's pulling to the inside. It's a pretty typical run to dive to the inside, get the car on to push up and then go through. But it's one of those situations here where the racing is so close quarter and so full of action as we're still seeing Kurt Crum and the rest of the crew here coming in, as you're just seeing how tight this racetrack is on the little track map. But Darwin Mainz is looking with Kurt Crum behind him. He's going to pull to the inside here, and he'll let himself slide on up. He will not make door-to-door with João Valverde, so he's going to take it a little easy here on lap number 18. Valverde has to go around a lap car. He'll actually make a little bit of contact with it. We'll look at himself sorted out. And David, it's one of those situations where you try to be passive, you try to be aggressive. It just you can never seem to get it good as Darwin Mainz goes around the outside, which is a pretty unique thing with these super late models. They have so much traction that they can actually pass on the outside of Bristol.
And yeah, we're seeing that. The preferred line seems to be about, halfway between the bottom of the banking and the top wall. So driving about halfway between that, and that means that a lot of door-to-door action can happen. We're now only 5 laps to go in heat number 1.
Yeah, figurative door-to-door racing, of course, but for Kurt Crum, he's trying to roll to the inside as I see somebody's out and spinning. That's a Michael Lane, who was running in 7th position. That was your last transfer position. He's not going to be happy about that one. He's just going to pull the car right to pit lane, so not quite sure what exactly happened to Michael Lane, but his attack for making that finale is going to be done. He lost the rear all on his own, so that means that it is going to be Nolan, it is going to be looking like Colin Marzoff is going to be that 7th position car with 2 to go.
It absolutely does, because Mike God is unfortunately all the way in the back, having his own problems trying to fend off other drivers behind him. So nobody challenging Colin Marzoff for that final transfer spot here, Cam.
Yeah, and as Christian Chalnier, he's on the 2 to go. So he's going around here. there is going to be the white flag for Christian Chalnier. He's had absolutely no pressure, basically, the entire run. So I gotta say, if you're, I have to wonder what's under the hood of that kinetic racing machine, because my goodness, he's able to pull away with it, and there is your checkered flag. But if there's anyone to do it, it's Eric Mickey, who's going to finish in the second position. And David, well, I mean, no real surprises as far as who the fast people are and the fast teams are here in the European split of the Majors Series. But I gotta say, we did have some pretty big names get involved in some pretty big incidents.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take a look at the standings, and then I'll dive into some of the implications of this heat. So your finishing order right here, your winner, as we mentioned, and by a pretty clear 2.5 seconds, Christian Chalnier, ahead of Eric Micker, ahead of Darwin Mintz. 4th place ends up going to Joao Valverde. 5th is Kurt Crum. 6th is David H. Baker. And in the final of the transfer spots from the heat, going straight into the final, is Colin Martsolf. 8th is Corbin Solomon. 9th goes to Mike Gaunt. And 10th is Jan Melziva.
Yeah, and what's going to happen now is, as you're getting the rest of the race results on your screen, I believe, if my brain's working correctly, what's going to happen is we're going to be going into yet another session, and then we're going to be getting heat number 2 underway for the pros. And that'll give us another 7 cars, and I believe it's going to be 2 heats, yep, and it's going to be 2 heats that's going to set that up. We're going to have a pretty big thing. So what we are going to do, in order to allow that to happen, we're going to take a quick break here on the iRacing Esports Network. You're watching Race Spot TV. We'll be right back in just a few moments' time with some more super late model action from Bristol.
Lap Pro Invitational presented by Gander Outdoors.
Clickerman taking that wide arc into the turn. I love that. Now he can diamond the corner off. I just love watching Garrett Smithley run toward the front. I know this kid's got a lot of talent. Look, around goes the field. There's Austin Hill sideways.
We saw that move for the second place position earlier. Eckes now goes to the inside. He is there. Smithley to the outside and got that position. And Michael, now it looks like Christian Eckes is going to go to the lead. Eckes will come away with the victory in this eNASCAR Gander Outdoors 100 iRacing Pro Invitational.
The road to $100,000 takes on No Limits Texas. We're from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. We say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 4 of the 2019 eNASCAR Buchanan Freeze iRacing Series. The pace cars down at Indel, and Michael Conti, familiar territory. He takes the green flag. We're underway from Texas. It's about as far apart as you could be. We'll be in side by side. Michael Conti not at all interested in pinching that 53 down. They were dead even that last time by the gap 0.000. But look at the A car way up high. He's not squeezing the 53 down. Conti really likes that run off of the corner there.
Look at the drama in front of him, and we're about to shake everything up as Chase Challoner gets caught up in an incident through the quad oval.
After 135 laps of green flag in the air, 6 laps to go from Texas. Here they come into turn 4. The 62 again tries. Left side tires are into the grass, and a caution flag behind them.
18 is Zelensky caught up in this huge incident, and did we actually make our window?
Lights on top of the pace car are out, and we have a 1-lap shootout to decide it. As we come to it, 1 more lap to go.
Tight restart. Keegan Leahy holding that outside line. Corey Vincent hasn't been able to get up to the back bumper. The 53 of Ryan Luza as of yet, and shuts the door. There goes the 62 to the outside. Corey Vincent to the inside. They're going to drag race behind Ryan Luza.
It's side by side for second, but here comes Leahy to the outside of Luza. Side by side challenge in turn number 3, but they're all going to box each other in. Luza sees daylight at a turn number 4. The challenge going to come to the outside. It's a big wreck behind him, but it is Ryan Luza, winner at Texas.
Hello everybody and welcome back here on the iRacing Esports Network. It is a RaceBot TV presentation of the European split of the Major Series. It's myself, Cam Walsh, that's David Haynes, that's Nolan Rempel, and we've got ourselves heat number 2. It'll be another 25 lap run here as I see why we were saying Doji. I see him down there as we're at Bristol International Speedway. It's 87 degrees Fahrenheit down here in Bristol, Tennessee. 99 degrees on the track surface here at the Coliseum, one of the only ovals that are this size that have the grandstand going all the way around. And my goodness me, I've always loved Bristol Motor Speedway. When are we going to get the dirt version, though? That's my question. Probably never. Anyways, we've got ourselves another heat coming for you, and Dave Walsh is going to be taking it. Now we've got time. David, we had a great run that first time, but as we saw, Christian Challoner was able to just run right away with it. And so I have to ask, is Dave Walsh going to be able to do the same thing, or are we going to have a bit more close door-to-door action for the victory?
Yeah, this will probably play out pretty similarly in that we won't be able to predict how it will happen. Of course, just 25 laps, no cautions, no pit stops. That's an elbows-out sprint if ever there was one around a half-mile oval like this. Of course, 20 cars and only 7 of them going through getting a transfer spot into the A main where the big points are handed out. It's going to be ferocious up the front, especially at that cutoff point. 8th place, you might as well be last. 7th place, you're going through into the A main. You know, sign yourself up. So that's a very, very critical point to watch, is that cutoff between 7th and 8th.
Yeah, Nolan, we'll go to you just after they go to green because they're going to take yet another very slow pace lap around here at 38 miles an hour. So we are going to have, as we said, the 2 qualifying races. The top 7 are going to go on through, and then we're going to have a C main. That's going to be 50. That's going to be 50 laps. Cautions will be on for that one. That's going to be 26 drivers for compete for 6 spots, and then the B and the A main. So, I mean, we've got basically no racing action coming up. Definitely not like 3 full races here. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. So, as the pace car pulls in, Dave Walsh will give himself, well, he gave himself a 1 Mississippi, so that's on everyone else to try to keep up with Dave Walsh, but you know what? He got away. He went right to the high side. Riley Thompson dove right to the inside. We are green here for heat number 2, Nolan. Looks like everyone's gotten away pretty clean.
Yeah, so far so good for PL's. Dave Walsh, as I said, jumped right to the outside, and Marcus Niskanen hits the outside wall coming off of turn number 4. That is for your final transfer spot. Keep in mind, he actually cleared Thomas Peterson off the start, and that 7 car continuing to drop back now, looking for 3 wide in the background. They're not going to go for it, though. Really tight up here within your top 7. Oh, and there's more contact towards turn number 1.
Yeah, they're going to be doing that pretty much all day unless they start flipping each other. But yeah, Dakota DeSanzo there is running that inside line. Jamie Rushworth wants to get through, and that's the 2nd time he has tapped Adam Fascioponte, that purple car that you see, which is that a Bugatti? So somebody crashes into the outside wall and takes away from the point I was going to make. Is Trevor Vorsky getting involved in that one? That's one notable name I've seen out of that one. Well, I'm going to have to get a replay out of that one. And Nolan, that's a lot of pretty big names there. That was right in that transfer spot area.
That was right in the transfer area, and that took out a good at least 4 or 5 cars in the back. So that is going to cause this field to be spread out all over the track now. Because of that, more trouble on the front now. That was Dakota DeCenzio running in 5th place, and with one other driver behind him. We didn't catch the name of that other driver, but they went hard into the inside wall.
Yeah, David, I believe that was with Jamie Rushworth. Most likely, yes, that was, as they drove themselves right into that inside wall. We're seeing a replay of that right now as Rushworth, I see what has happened there. A little bit of door contact and ultimately, or wall contact, pushed them all in. And David, that scatters everything.
Yeah, DeCenzio's gone up high into the outside wall, and that's taken away the total downforce racing 1, 2, 3. They're just running 1st and 2nd in this race now. That opens up the battle for 3rd place, which is what we've had our eyes on right there. But here is your battle for the final transfer spot. Lyndon Swaby's going to try and hunt down Evan Osborne. He's got about 15 laps to do it. That flies by around a short track like this.
Yeah, most definitely. 15.4 second. Laps around here, which just off the top of my head is just about as fast as a Gen 6 stock car. At least that's what it feels like. I can't say maybe they hit maybe 14s. But Adam Fascioponte is running to the inside-outside line, trying to get around Dawson Brock. And that Dawson Brock machine is going to tap the outside wall in his number 83 Chevrolet. As I'm telling you, that's a Bugatti. That's got to be a Bugatti front nose, which I have to say, you'll get interesting things here in the European split as Travis Henderson, even with that damaged pony, is going to run to the outside line, the inside line. He's got the line here, Nolan, and I think he's going to be able to get that position on Adam Fascioponte unless Adam Fascioponte was able to run at that outside line. He's able to counter it back, but it looks to me like Travis has got the idea of the line, and he should be able to keep putting the pressure on.
And that's something Henderson is going to want to try to do, is really work that outside line. He's going to be there coming off turn number 4 and is going to just get such a big pull coming down the front straightaway, still side by side in turns 1 and 2. He's going to get it done, though. So Travis Henderson up into 4th place by turn number 3. And he will be able to just run away from that position unless Adam Fascioponte will be able to get him back here.
No, right now it is Dave Walsh with about a 1-second gap over Riley Thompson, his teammate, who's got about a 2.5-second gap over Dawson Brock, who's running a paint scheme. I can't seem to find. I could swear that he was with the Grizzly Boys at one point, but I don't think so. I think it's the Nuts Deep 2. I don't know what happened to the first one, but obviously something traumatic. As then you've got Travis Henderson with that gap, and then Adam Fascioponte, he's running in that 5th position. Matthias Magnussen, David, is going to be trying to hunt him down. He's got about maybe 7 laps to do it, and then you've got Trevor Vorsky watching on. He's many laps down, and he unfortunately isn't going to be there. But then you've got Evan Osborne, who's basically by himself. So right now, it's just if you're Matthias Magnussen, do you try to work it? As there's a couple of the other cars let down. Sam Wheatley get involved in an incident there. But if you're Magnussen, David, do you really try to pass?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We just had a change of position up the front here, though. We're watching the replay of that one. Dave Walsh, what is he? The car in front, he has no idea where that one's going to go. Dave Walsh is running right up the front. And now he's severely damaged his car. I think he can just hold on in the top 3 for now. That was Sam Watley. And this is what happens when there's no cautions in an oval race like this. You've still got to keep running your own race and running your pace. And the leaders have come across a stricken car there. And it's a rather unfortunate little coming together. Race stays green, of course, and it's non-stop action.
Yeah, race stays green. We have got 4 laps to go. We're seeing Dawson Brock right now is coming in, and here's the battle for the lead that is now kicked off courtesy of that incident. It's Riley Thompson in that number 58 machine fighting against Dawson Brock for the Not for all the marbles, obviously, but for the victory here in the heat. So we'll keep our eyes on this one. We're on board right now. As, well, you're going to swap that on out here. We've got a couple of lap cars to get around. There's Jared Morgan's machine, Patrick Neese, which the character on the hood of that machine is doing the same thing I am, because this action's getting very tight, Nolan.
It really is, and we saw that leader car, Riley Thompson, get right up to the back of Jared Morgan so many times. He's going to try to dive it under him, coming onto the front straightaway. That looks like it might work out for him. If he's stuck at that inside line, though, that could allow Dawson Brock to get around him on the outside line. Doesn't look like he's going to go for it, though. Jared Morgan tags the wall in turn 1, and Dawson Brock, this will be the final time around for him.
Yeah, so that means that Riley Thompson is going to hold on out after taking that the advantage of that from from Dave Walsh as his incident. But Dave Walsh will finish in the 3rd position, so it's still a TDR 1-2-3, which leaves me to wonder, who has got the faster machine? Is it going to be one of those kinetic cars, the bombshell cars, or these TDR cars? I'm not sure. So it's going to be Riley Thompson, Dawson Brock, Dave Walsh, Travis Henderson, then Adam Fastioponti, Matthias Magnuson, and Evan Osborne is going to be your top 7. That's going to be transferring through. And David, that was a bit of a wild one at the end of that. I thought, you know, we didn't have any cars on the roof in the first couple of laps. I'm like, all right, got some good action. Dave Walsh pulled away, and then it all just kicked off there because of that lap traffic incident.
Yeah, of course, exactly. When you've got 23 cars on the circuit like this and they're all fighting so hard, that's the kind of thing that does happen. So we see your results up there. I had a quick look, and Fastioponti, it's not a Bugatti, he's driving an Alfa Romeo. So that's probably not something you see a whole lot in Carolina, where it says that he's from, but there you go. So the 7 that will proceed, as we said, Thompson, Brock, Walsh, Henderson, Fastioponti, Magnuson, and Evan Osborne. Coming up next is the last chance qualifier that Cam Walsh, we've got a driver to have a quick word with before that happens.
That's right, Dawson Brock has done some ninja stuff, and he jumped out of the car and ran right up to the press box. So I mean, hey, that'll work. Let's get him in here. There we go. So we've got Dawson Brock, 2/10. It was between you and Riley Thompson. It's still a TDR 1-2-3, but maybe not the order you guys were thinking.
Yeah, no, we did a good job. I was content there at the end just to ride, and I'd seen the chaos from the first heat, and I decided, let's just ride. I'll watch Riley go ahead and get through.
Yeah, I know you had a couple of attempts, or not attempts, but you had a couple of opportunities, I guess, but probably is the wise thing when you're looking at, you know, that 100-lap feature that's going to be coming up. Maybe not. Finding yourself having to work your way up through all the other the events, but meanwhile, just take me through kind of how the super late model is running here at Bristol. 23 cars, it's a lot of traffic. Just to kind of take me through your run here.
Yeah, the traffic, I think you hit it right on the head. You got to manage where you're going, where everybody else is, and you got to have a car that can run both lanes. You know, that high side, that's where people like to run. You got to be comfortable getting as close as you can to that wall, but you also need a car that can run on that bottom and make passes. We saw how many times I made a lot of my passes on the low side, and I think that's going to be a key for whoever you see win today. It's going to be a car that can really run that low side.
Yeah, and well, we're going to be seeing quite a couple of different takes on this one. We in that first heat, you know, we had Joshua Wolf fall to the wayside. We had a couple of other notable people fall to the wayside, which means that they're going to have to work themselves up through here. So, have you seen anybody or noticed anybody in the work up to this that maybe has got some speed that you weren't expecting?
Oh, I think there are a lot of cars that, you know, we kind of looked at and we saw them, how they went through those heats. You know, a couple of really good cars got wrecked. I think Josh, I think a couple of those Grizzly guys, they're all really fast. I think it'll be interesting. I'm definitely going to be watching the last chance qualifier to see, you know, what cars to watch and, you know, maybe who's got a chance at working their way through the field during the main.
All right, so Dawson Brock will give you the proverbial microphone. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to or thank before we let you go?
Just my team. I was on spring break all week, so I didn't have a chance to work on this car, so they put in thousands of laps. I kid you not. I know it's Bristol short track, but they've put in thousands of laps getting this car ready, and I just want to thank them. All the success so far, it's all on them.
All right, well, Dawson Brock of the TDR Racing Machine, thanks so much, and best of luck.
Yep, thanks, guys.
And we'll go from that to the number 96 of Jared Morgan. And we'll get Jared in here because, well, normally we wait until the end of the event, but you know what? We're kind of towards the, quote, end of the event as we're for you, Jared. Well, not so fast, though. We've got a couple of other series, or other races coming up here after those 2 heats. You had a bit of a rough and tumble run of it in the back of that field. Just kind of take me through how tricky this super late model is running around Bristol with other cars. Oh no, Jared's he's deceased. There's no more Jared. He's gone.
Found it.
Oh, there we go. There we go. He found it. He found the switch on the steering wheel. There's only one button on the steering wheel, but he found it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, slowest car all week, but I made up half of my heat field. That's a good start in the right direction. But knowing that the other half of the faster cars are in the next heat race, I'm definitely going to be up a creek here. But the whole point is to come out here, make a showing, keep my streak alive. I think I'm at 58 consecutive starts now, so I'll keep that going.
That's basically 58 consecutive months of major series racing, and it's been a trip. Haven't been able to talk to you the last couple of times. I mean, not a bad thing, I suppose, because the series is always growing, as it were. And we've been covering, obviously, the pro splits, and you've been in yourself in the journeyman splits, or whatever we call them, not amateur. But you've been finding yourself down in the... Are they the sportsmen? Is that what it's officially called?
Yeah, they are still considered sportsmen. Okay. But yeah, I've been slow most of the year. I haven't... this one particularly, I don't know what I've been doing wrong all week, because my teammates clearly have a faster car, looking at Cordell. But I've been relegated to the back most of the season. The exception is Daytona. I was still slow, but qualifying in the dual race there saved my behind. But I'm not looking forward to Nürburgring next. That's going to be the death of me. Then I think we go to Indy next, because weekend of that, I'm headed up to Portland for a couple of days.
Yeah, we're going to be having the Nürburgring 2.4 hours, and then the Indy 500, which is going to be in the Indy car. But yeah, it is one of those situations where it's not so much that you're slow or anything like that, Jared. It's just
everybody else is faster, Cam.
Well, we've gotten new people who have gotten themselves quite quick. How about that? So I used to be a mid-packer in the Lotus 79 until more people showed up, and I was running the same speed. And yeah, those new people seem to be pretty quick. So I was a backpacker, which is pretty interesting. So either way, we'll see. Were we able to find ourselves in the session? I see. We do have to take an advertisement break. So either way, Jared, we'll give you the floor. And we'd like to give a shout out to or thank before we let you go.
Just as the boys back at Grizzly Motorsports and Grizzly Evolution, they've been behind me this whole season and the last year too. Lost our sponsors back in December, but that's okay. No shame in running a blank Ford Taurus, right?
That's right, except for the fact it's a Ford Taurus. But other than that, it's it'll be good out there. Just keep the nose uncrinkled. How about that? And good luck in the next sessions.
You can copy that. See you later.
See ya. And that means that we're going to cut right into a commercial break here. A quick ad here on the iRacing Esports Network. You're watching RaceSpot TV, the major series here at Bristol. watching the iRacing Esports Network here on the Race Spot TV. Hello, everybody. Cameron Walsh, David Haynes, Nolan Rempel, Hugo Louis here from Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. As we have now shifted the clock slightly. It's 77 degrees now on the air, 81 degrees on the track surface. We have got yet another run here today. It's what you could consider the quote-unquote last chance qualifier. We have got some 31 cars here on the racing grid looking to move their way up into the finale. It is going to be 6 cars moving on, and that is going to be a mighty tall task, as Bernard Gruderig is going to be our leading car. That is the one with the hood that's going. As then you've got Corrigan Solomson, which I don't. That's not the hard one. Mike Gaunt, Lonnie Fitch, Stefan Wang, Jan Maziba, Sylvian Maillard, Lyndon Swaby, Jean-Franz Aresol, Matsus Bandola, Jared Morgan is going to be starting from the 11th position, Enrico Leonhardt. And then you just can keep on rocking and rolling. Perelsia Nilsson as the car is rolling, Claude Belva, etc., etc. I do see Cordell Cologne well down there. Trevor Vavorsky's all well down there. Yildiz Butkius is down there. Diego Hermelia, Joshua Wolf, Gabriel Roos, Jamie Rushworth are starting well in the back, down in the almost 30s. So for Bernard, he's going to be leading this one to the green. And David, it's going to be a mighty challenge here with this many cars and cautions on.
Yep, exactly. That's what I was going to mention. This is your last chance to progress for these guys. And cautions on means that if you're right up the back and we get a caution, do you dive in to grab a new set of tyres? Could really help you cut through the field later on. That's one thing to think about as we move from the heats towards the C main here and then towards the A main. We keep some of the hectic action that we've enjoyed, but we've now got a little bit more of an element of strategy and a little bit more thought goes towards the long run pace.
Yes, and that is, I suppose, the elegant way to look at it. I look at it as we've got more cars to hit and longer time to do it. Well, I mean, it's Bristol, so I mean, there's really not much else to do. So, pace car is going in. Bernard Gruderig is going to go take the green as he goes through the gears. The number 266 car getting a push from Mike Gaunt already, and they get themselves sorted out, and off and away we go as 30 cars hits the Bristol Motor Speedway, and we are rocking and rolling. And Nolan, we are green here at Bristol.
We are green, and so far a relatively clean start for everybody. Just as I say that, caution is out.
Yeah, and that's, let's see, I see Thomas Pedersen having some damage. Joshua Wolf has some damage, which is kind of a no bueno for him, as, let's see, it was a little further up the field here, I see what has happened. It was the number 3 machine. As, David, I don't know if maybe you've seen it, or maybe Nolan, if you had, well, I see what's happened here, and David, actually, we'll go to you. It was Jamie Rushworth kind of parked his car into the rear of Andy Banfield, and that sent him around.
Yeah, the old short track passing maneuvers, unfortunately not working out this time. Bringing out the caution, might have just, right up underneath the bumper of the car ahead, misjudged his braking point, misjudged his turn in, something like that. It was a pretty vicious send, unfortunately, though.
Yeah, I would agree. And Nolan, for Joshua Wolf, that's not going to be fun for him. He's well, he might bring it into pit lane, but Josh Wolf in the standings, as I just realized I'm not wearing my glasses, so that's a wonderful thing. So either way, as we are under our first caution after 3 green flag laps, gotta say, I will have noticed that not much has changed, but I did notice that Yildiz Butkius has gone already from 20th position to 15th.
And that is something that we can actually expect to be seen with a couple of these drivers, as some of them try to work the outside line, and some of them will try to dive to the inside line if they go for tires. And going back on that tire discussion that we were having right before we went green for this race, if you do come in to get tires, when do you want to come down and do that? Because if you come down when nobody else come in for tires, you could actually get a really good jump and pounce on a lot of drivers on that inside line. But if everybody else is coming down, it's almost a waste of time. It'd be almost worth more your while to just stay on out and pick up a few spots.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's definitely an interesting thing for these super late model machines as well. It's not like these are just the Gen 6 cars where they're just gonna throw wheels all day and really rip these tires up. They obviously use the full tire. They expect to use the whole tire here, as these tires very well built specifically for these super late models, as the lights are going to be going out on the pace car right now, as there we go, as Bernard Grudering is going to be taking us to the green flag. His outside is going to be Mike Gaunt, then you've got Corbin Solomon, and then you've got Stefan Wang, Lonnie Fitch, and Jan Malziva as your current transfer positions, as we have got 6 laps down of 50. Yes, 5-0. As we get ready to go green one more time, entering corner number 3, going through the extraordinarily steep banking here. And let's see how long we can get this run rocking and rolling here. We'd hate to see the caution coming out every 3 laps. So the green flag is out, and Bernard Gruderig has gotten his way through. He has not gotten hit from behind, and is outside right now is Mike Gaunt. Mike Gaunt looking to perhaps power the outside. Gets that taken away from Bernard as the yellow flag comes out just as Mike Gaunt loses the front end here. And David, I didn't even get to talk to you.
No, we've had what, about half a lap of green flag racing there. Here's your replay.
And that is Andy Banfield, I believe, again, for the second time getting involved in something unfortunate. As you can just see them, they kind of wadded up there as just 2 cars, and then they couldn't unhook themselves for some while. But other than that, hate to see incident after incident here, Nolan.
Yeah, we definitely hate to see all of these incidents happening really early on, and especially with Andy Banfield, who he's a really good driver, Andy Banfield, so it's just a shame that he's been caught up in 2 different incidents. We also had a secondary incident as well in turn number 3, and that involved Lindy Swaby and Jared Morgan. They were actually almost going 3 wide down the back straightaway while all that was happening behind him, and the 100 car got put into the outside wall. Pretty hard hit for him, so potential damage on that 100 car, which could really affect his race going forward.
And the number 96 car as well, having quite a bit of damage on his front end as well in his Ford Taurus. I don't necessarily know if it's improved the looks of it at all, but I just. So we're going to look to get the next time by, have the 1 to go symbol. But David, just for what we've had so far, it looks like Bernard is able to hold it, but I wouldn't be surprised if people are really going to try to pass.
Yeah, hoping we get some green flag running, but there's not a whole lot of incentive for the cars up the back. Only this top 6 going through to the transfer. Well, we've got 30 cars. Only 20% of them will get a berth in the next round. So if you're 15th or 20th, you've got nothing to lose from being somewhere between bold or a little bit reckless. And of course, that's not conducive to long green flag runs, unfortunately. So hoping we get plenty of green flag running, but you can kind of understand why. In this 50 lap, 25 mile race, we're seeing a lot of desperation, a lot of desperate moves, and some of them not as carefully considered as some others.
And some of it's just shaking off the rust almost. You get into a rhythm here at Bristol. I had run here quite often in my very early sim racing days, and I can tell you get into this weird magical rhythm. I can't describe it very great, but you get into this almost this hypnotic rhythm of these corners, one after the other, and you start dealing with the cars, start dealing with traffic, and you get more comfortable riding in traffic closer than you've ever ridden before very quickly. So hopefully what'll happen is that if we get 3 or 4 or 5 laps knocked out, that'll happen with these guys, and we will have a very, very exciting run to see here as Bernard looks to take the green flag. Going through corner number 3, and Mike gone. Well, he now doesn't have to worry about tapping the rear bumper of Bernard because he's going to be starting on his outside, so let's rock and roll here. Bernard Gruderig is going to be hitting that blue stripe, and there's your green flag. Bernard getting a good jump on him. So they get up through the gears here, and we are green once again here at Bristol International Speedway. And it looks to me like a massive jumbling of cars in the midsection, but we stay green. Nolan?
I believe it was poor Ola Nilsson that actually tagged the wall, and in fact it was, so big checkup in the background, and that almost forced them. They are 3 wide, and there's another caution out on the field already. 1 car stranded on the bottom of 2.
And Patrick Neese, that's the 75 car that also is painted that way. I believe that is probably the cause of the caution, and Jamie Rushworth, having found himself, he's kind of one of the faster cars that's kind of stuck in the pack, which means that his braking points are a little different, as Patrick Neese was trying to get the car turned around. Unfortunately, he had to back himself out there. So either way, David, well, it's great to talk to you again because we're under yellow.
Yeah, and of course our race leader, most laps led right now, is of course that Ford Mustang safety car, that pace car right now, getting a lot of action in this last chance qualifier. So your top 6, well, they're still the same top 6 as when we started this race. Bernard Guttering, Mike Gaunt, Corbin Solomon, Stefan Wang, Lonnie Fitch, and in the last transfer spot, Jan Mitsiva. So those 6, if you're them, you're probably not going to be too frustrated if the rest of this race is done behind the pace car. Sure, it'll take a while, but while we're under pace car, those top 6 can't be passed. It's if you're any of the drivers behind, like as we see our top 8 on the screen right there, Jean-Francois Arnaud or Sylvain Malao, that those 2, they can just see a top 6 spot right in front of them. They want this to go green so that they can flex the best of their abilities to maybe proceed beyond this stage of the Pacific Majors Short Track US Nationals.
Yeah, most definitely, and it has been interesting so far, even though we haven't seen much action straight up. What we have had is just a couple of cars really make up a lot of positions. Joshua Wolf, he's moved up from 27th to 17th. Puticlius, like we had said, the 666, he's gone up from 20th to 10th position. And I see Jared Morgan's now cracked that top 10 as well. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to roll here, as we've got 2 more at the least to green. And Nolan, it's just trying to get into that rhythm, and we just don't we just don't seem to be able to get in a rhythm.
Well, we really don't, and that's the desperation of all of these drivers trying to get into that final transfer spot to go into that main event that we're going to be having later on tonight as well. Now, the real question that I have is this going to be the pattern in the A main as well? Like, are we going to be seeing as many yellows in the A main, or is that when the things are going to begin to kind of settle back down? Because right now, it seems like this is just a lot of last-minute desperation and just people being incredibly aggressive, especially off of these restarts.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's really not much else you can do. If you try to be too patient on the restarts, you're going to get run over, and understandably so. Bristol, it being the way that it is, it's conducive to hard racing and hard running, and you can't not run hard. It's a bit like trying to attack a corner on a road course, where if you try to take it 10 miles an hour slower than you normally do, you end up finding yourself not making the corner and overshooting the apex just because of how you have to take the corner the same time every time. So lights are out on the iRacing pace car as we get ready to go green here at the, it's the iRacing Esports Network here on RaceSpot TV. Pace car is going in, and Bernard Gruderig is going to be getting us to that blue striped cone, and we are green once again as the cars are going 2 by 2 into corner number 1 for what is the third time now with the green, as after our fourth caution as Bernard is getting absolutely run over, and there goes Stefan Wang. He's spinning out right in front of the entire field. This is going to wad them all up here, and there's a massive day of action going right through the front stretch, and I believe that this is what we call, David, the opposite of what we wanted to see, unless you like this sort of thing.
Yeah, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Really, only the top 5 cars getting through that unscathed. Look at that parking lot. My word. I mean, there's only so much you can say to that.
Slow motion is what we need.
You could just play some, opera or something over it. Here's the number 85 car, sort of comes down from the low line, gets spun around, and then with the 17, I think it's the 80 there, and they just all end up all the way across the track. Nowhere for anyone behind to go. And here's a huge winner, someone that you've been pointing out all race. Aldous Putakillis is now up 13 spots into 7th place. Look, they're 8 across the track there. Everyone behind had absolutely nowhere to go at that point. And then the 100 just tries to, keep it pinned. You can do it, Ricky, or something.
Yeah. That was just right on through to the other side as Lyndon Swaby, the Canadian. Oh, you know what? I know what had happened. He politely excused himself. Excuse me, sir. Sorry. Yep. Sorry. Excuse me.
Sorry about that, bud.
Sorry about that, dear buddy. But either way, he got himself through. We're under caution as we see live pictures from Lyndon Swaby's front hood here. So, Mike Gaunt is now your leader. Corbin Solomon is now in your second position. Jean-Francois Arsenault is now running in 3rd, and Bernard Gudering was running 4th, but he has come down into pit lane. And I have to say, you may chuckle and go, "Oh, these simulated drivers, they're no good." I basically saw this exact same accident in a pro stock race up at Oswego Motor Speedway. So I can tell you the real life people do this too. So what that is going to do is give us some time to resettle everything. I mean, I pretty much every single car at this point, minus top 5, Nolan, is damaged. That's going to make this race so much easier.
It almost could in a sense, and I really hate to say this, but it was one of those things where it was only a matter of time if something like that happens, and I almost doubt that that's not going to be the last time we're going to be seeing this track turned into a parking lot either. And again, we think that these drivers, they're like people think that sim racing drivers, they're not as the best and everything, and it's just a lot of people being really aggressive. But you get into a car like this, and it is actually much tighter on the track than some people might realize. And I've been in situations like this myself. It seems like you got so much less room, and that's causes people to get really, really squirrely. And it was almost 2 separate incidents, in fact, that just piled up into one big one on the front straightaway.
Yeah, Stefan Wang ended up losing the car just enough to unsettle himself here as the pace car is going to go in. Mike Gaunt is going to take the green. He jumps to the front, and Corbin Solomon follows him. Jean-Francois running to the inside, and there's Jaron Morgan in the 4th position. He's running that outside line right now. Stefan Wang and Trevor Bavorsky aggressively running to the inside line here as it might have a split enough to where we can get a green flag running as Jean-Francois David has moved to the inside line, and he is now hauling as that Arsenal machine was going to take that position, but Corbin Solomon just too much power on that outside exit.
Yeah, Mike Gaunt's now a long way clear as the battle is second on back, and of course that coveted 6th place spot now held by Trevor Bavorsky. They're swapping back and forth here, but so far it's all looking a lot better than earlier on.
And just like in Sesame Street, I've learned how to count. I was watching it this morning. We are still green, so this is the longest green flag run we've had, and I've only counted to like 3. We did have one car pulled to the inside, 2 cars pulled to the inside. It was the 07 and the 7 machine. That is going to be Dakota DeSanto and Thomas Pedersen, and now irrelevant to them, the caution is out for the
Joshua
07.
Wolf dropping all the way down the order, and he's one of those cars that's in your top 10 for the championship. He was trying to make his way through this last chance qualifier into the A main, hopefully pick up some big points to carry on his run in the pro division. But here's what's happened to him that's taken him out. I think the 62 in front of him is checked up. He's tried to go high, and then that gap has closed. And then we see that once you're facing the wrong way, once you're sideways on the track, there's not a whole lot of places for the other cars around to go, so he's continued to be part of that incident.
Yeah, very unfortunate back in the 22nd position for Joshua Wolf. That has brought out caution number 1 of them. So we are now again behind the pace car. But I will say, Nolan, from what we saw from that little sprint there, Jean-Francois in that Can-Am racing machine, that's a pretty quick number 50.
Oh, it absolutely is. Worked his way up from 9th place, and now he's up to 3rd overall. So he is sitting right behind Corbin Solomon. So he's going to be looking to make something work on the restart. Might try to jump to the high side, but he, of course, is going to have Stefan Wang right there in the back of that 85 machine. That's going to be give him a run for his money on that outside line as well. So we're going to be seeing a lot more tight action, and we've definitely seen a long green flag run, or at least long in comparison to what we've seen so far. We are over the halfway point in this last chance qualifier as well. Lap number 33 as of now.
Yeah, so we are past the halfway mark. You wouldn't notice it, but we are past the halfway mark as we're getting ourselves ready here for one more run. As the pace car will be hoping to come in maybe next time, maybe 2 laps from now. But David, from what we have seen, the 100-lappers might be presenting quite a bit of a challenge, but at the same time, those drivers are all going to be noticing, picking up, and watching what's going on here, and maybe realize, like, maybe not being so aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. This race is all about the top 6. And some of the big movers into that is Trevor Fafrovsky and Jared Morgan. They've just stayed out of trouble, obviously had a little bit of pace of their own, and now they are within the top 6, and they're going to get added on to the end of everyone who got themselves a spot in the A main from the heat. So they'll be up the back of the grid for the 100-lap race, but they will be in it, and you've got to be in it to win it. That's what we've seen from all the heats. That's what we're seeing in this race. It's what we expect to see. They're too wide. Lights are off on the pace car, I believe. No, not yet. They're still on, but we're going to be starting sooner than later.
Should be right now. Yep. Hey, we did it. The pace car is going to be looking to come into pit lane, as I believe the pace car might actually have the most laps led so far in this race. But Mike Gaunt is going to look to shoot away as soon as he can. I have a feeling when that pace car goes to the inside, I have a feeling Mike is just going to let it roll, just like Christian Chalnier did in that first heat. And we'll have to see what Jean-Francois Arsenal will do. As we are getting ready to go green, we've still got 30 cars rocking and rolling. Mike Gaunt has got us rocking and rolling already, and it was quite a shaky start in the back of the pack. A lot of cars were a bit left and right of where they would be expected to be, but for Corbin Solomon, he has got the number 50 car to the inside. Tire temperatures will be going up very quickly as these cars are getting ready to rock and roll. One car is going way too deep. That is going to be a couple of cars getting involved in an incident. It's going to be another caution. Claude Belval was involved in that one, as I believe Claude gotten caught up in something, Nolan. I believe this started with Jan Laziva, as Jan tried... oh, I see what had happened. He had gotten a tap from the 113 machine. That sent him to the inside line, and he had to do that thing where you have to, there's only one option, and that's going up in front of everybody else, which worked out for the most part if cars kind of saw him coming, but then after that they did not, so that just kind of, well, it sent a couple of cars up in the wall and up and over.
It really did, and interestingly enough, Mazvia, as we discussed, he actually made contact with the 14 car of Gabriel Roos just ahead of him as well. Now, Roos managed to get out of this one all fine and dandy, but that 8 machine got put up into the wall. We saw the 56 car of Claude Belval, he was pushed up and over, and then the 80 car just got drilled by the 17, and that sent him right around and into the wall. I'm honestly surprised that there weren't more cars caught up in that one, because that could have been much, much larger, but the 80 car really had a really rough time throughout the entire lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, we had talked, David, about tires, whatnot. I believe because of the cautions and whatnot, I wouldn't consider it. If there's maybe 1 or 2 cautions, that would be fine, but just because of how we've been having trouble getting started, and that's really been it. It's been trouble getting started, and I almost wonder if maybe the next couple of ones, it should be kind of a 2 caution sort of thing, and then after that a single file restart sort of thing. But who knows? Either way, we're behind the pace car 1 more time, and for Mike Gaunt, he's only going to have, what, a 14, 13 lap run?
Yeah, well, it's going to be about 10 laps, isn't it? We're getting there slowly but surely. The pace car leading more laps than anyone else, as we said, but it's 50 laps. It's getting to the pointy end here.
That it is, as the coffee needs to be injected into my veins, which it's not being, which is very sad, but also a positive thing because that would probably kill me. We are getting ready to go green, hopefully next time by... This is the backstretch. The backstretch has the same colored walls as the front stretch. That's why it's called the Coliseum, because it looks the same on both sides. So, as the pace car loftily runs us at 40 miles an hour, we're going to go past. If you've seen that little blue stripe with the blue cone, that's new. If you haven't been following along with the new updates, that's the restart line. Now the lights are going to go off on the Mustang, and we're going to get these super late models rocking and rolling one more time. It's a lot of ponies, and it's a lot to control. These are very technical cars, and I think that's kind of a bit of an understatement here. A lot of people just think, you know, hop in them, drive them, whatever. These are specifically designed racing cars to go do nothing but take a left-hand corner up a banking at the absolute high speed, and Nolan makes a good point. One more caution, we would race under yellow because these cautions are, I believe, 5-lap runs. Mike Gaunt takes the green flag, so for potentially the last time, the green flag is out. And Solomson's on the high side. Jean-Francois Arsenal's on the inside. Trevor Vovorski wants to get in there. And we've got a great battle, and we've already got a yellow out. Didn't see where that was. This must have been way in the back.
And it was, but it didn't start very far in the back. As actually, there was one car, I'm trying to get the number of it, checked up big time, and it was Lyndon Schwabe on the start. It was actually, no, it was not him. It started with Marcus Niskanen in the 47 car. He never got going. And that caused the 100 car to check up hard in the back, and he was slow all the way through 1 and 2, so something must have happened to him, and he got turned around by Niskanen, and that caused a big pile, including Andy Banfield going for a couple of barrel rolls down the back straightaway.
Yeah, I think Niskanen missed a shift, actually, and so it's kind of 2 things. Niskanen kind of...
So it looked like Niskanen. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead, Nolan, if you've got a point to talk about from this replay.
So it did look like Niskanen missed a shift, and that would quite obviously be what have caused him to check up on the restart, because they were shifting right up into, I believe it's 3rd gear that they were trying to go into, but then still trying to figure out what happened to that 100 car, because he was really, really slow on the outside of turn 1 and 2, so I'm still trying to figure out what happened to him.
All right, hold on a second here. You got me now?
We do have a copy of you again now, Cam.
The dog was licking the Focusrite I/O box, so my microphone decided
less than optimal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I thought so. So just to kind of to repack it, as we've watched the replay a couple of times here, this shouldn't end under yellow. We were going to have one run at this, I believe. We should have maybe 2 to go, I would say. Maybe 3 to go if we get this rocking and rolling here. And Nolan, I gotta say, if we do go green, what do you think the chances are we're gonna end under green?
I'd say a very low, and the probability of seeing that yellow flag out by the time this race ends is very, very high at this point, because they're going to be really, really aggressive off the start, specifically Jared Morgan, who's starting right behind Stefan Wang. He's going to be going for the top 6 again, because remember, these drivers in the top 6, they're probably not going to fight as hard with each other because they know that they are already locked in and good to go. It is really going to be Jared Morgan and others behind there are going to be really trying to push for those final transfer spots in the field. So I would say that with all the aggression we've been seeing, there's a very high probability this will end under yellow.
David, what are you thinking here? Give me a percentage-wise.
I'm wondering if it's possible to burn out the LEDs in the yellow lights on the top of the Mustang and around the track. They've been getting a very, very good usage in this race. We just had a quick look at the top 10, and Uldis Putekelis is up 15 positions from 20th into 5th place. It feels like we've not had that many laps of green flag racing. To make that many spots in 50 laps would be an achievement, but that many spots when we've had as little green flag running as we have just clearly positioned the car perfectly, as with Vavrovsky, who's up 16 positions. So you see there's some drivers who you really wouldn't have given much hope to before this race who've suddenly found themselves in one of those transfer spots. Their night is not going to be over as things stand right now.
Alright, so we are going to have a green-white checkered, only the traditional version of it, as Mike Gaunt takes us through. One car already diving to the inside apron. Hopefully that won't pull the caution out, but Mike Gaunt has got it right now. Trevor Vorsky wants to get that inside line against Corbin Solomon here, as it is Mike Gaunt, Corbin Solomon, Trevor Vorsky, Jean-Francois Uldis Putekelis, Stefan Wang, and Jared Morgan fighting here. One car going into the wall. That's Stefan Wang, and Mike Gaunt, that's the leader of the race. But we already have the white flag out, as they're going to now race to the finish. It's going to be a drag race between Trevor Vorsky and Corbin Solomon. Didn't expect that one to happen, as we finish under green with .001 between Corbin Solomon and Trevor Vorsky. Nolan, I don't even know how that happened, but for some reason it makes it feel like it was all worth it.
Oh my goodness, what a finish. The leader of your race was taken out going into turn number 1, and then a finish by 1/1000th of a second. Even in the top NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series, we've only had one finish in history where we've been that close. So that is literally just about as close as you can get. Not even an inch separating those cars at the line. Yeah,
and now we're getting a replay of the action here, as it was the 886 car coming through here, as you'd see the hit there coming through, as they pack it up and keep on going, and then it was just a move-in through there. As you can see, the number 10 machine of Trevor Vorsky and the 311 of Corbin Solomon, they just drag race through. But yeah, my goodness me, what a finish there, David.
Yeah, precisely. Replay of a couple of angles. How on earth that's transpired. Here is your provisional race results. I think some of the finishing order still being looked at by race control, but here's how they came across the line. Your winner, Corbin Solomon, 0.02 of a second clear of Trevor Vavrovsky. Absolute photo finish there for the lead. Third, Jean-Francois Arsenault. Then fourth, Putekelis Rus, who's come up 21 spots from 26th on the grid to grab himself a transfer spot. Jared Morgan gets 6th, Michael Lane in 7th, Mateus Bandola in 8th, and I believe it's the top 8 that will transfer based on the number of cars we've had register for this event and how many will make it to the A main. So it's my understanding, top 8, as you see there, will progress barring any potential penalties from race control, and the remainder of your finishing order is on the screen there.
Yeah, it is, and so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna see if I can't take with my little eye and see how ready we are for the next session, because that might determine how we're gonna take things. But Nolan, I mean, we had caution after caution after caution after caution after caution after caution after caution, but a green-white checkered to end it there. I mean, if you're Mike Gaunt, you got to be pretty not happy about that when he finished in 25th position. So going from leading the race to 25th in just 2 corners time on the last lap, I mean, that has to be hard. But at the same time, if you're one of those other drivers that are now making the event because of that, I gotta say, I mean, you gotta take your fortunes when it comes.
You really do, and it is such a shame for Mike Gaunt, but unfortunately that is just a part of short track racing. It's just something that it happens in short track racing. I've been at the receiving end of stuff like what Mike Gaunt's just been through as well. It is definitely one of the hardest things to have happen for you. You know, you're leading a good portion of the race and then you get turned on the very last lap. It is such a heartbreaker, so hopefully Mike Gaunt will be able to recover though later on in the championship. And still though, Corbin Solomon, wow, that is definitely one of the closest finishes I've ever seen on the service, and I've already been here for some months, so this is definitely the closest finish I've ever seen on the service so far.
Yeah, it was quite wonderful. I mean, I don't know if it makes up all those cautions, but you know what? It was at least a finish that we got to see here. He bops off the outside wall, the 311 does, hits Trevor Vorsky, and they drag race through, and Jean-Francois, he really wanted to get a piece of that, as we do have Jared Morgan back here as the slowest car. The proverbial slowest car, as he had mentioned, finished in the 6th position, and Jared, looks like you're going to be moving on.
I don't know how. I rolled the car, and I still wound up 4th at the caution. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's working.
There you go. See, that's what when you rolled the car, it compressed the suspension, so then you were able to get close to the ground to give you more downforce.
Either that or it knocked the roof down where it was less drag.
That's right. That's right. So, either way, I mean, it's certainly not the kind of race that we would like to see. You know, but this is short track racing. This does happen. Lots of cautions out there, but what can you do? I mean, you worked yourself up from the 11th position up to 6th. Kind of take me through it. Just restart after restart.
On each restart, I hit the gas, got it up to 4th. If I was on the bottom, I made up ground. If I was on the top, I lost ground. And then in one case, I was not even on the ground.
Yeah, that the big ole pile up, as it were. That kind of was unfortunate. That was Stefan Wang in another car, and I mean, there's really nowhere to go here at Bristol. It looks wide, but when there's something happening like that, it is really not, is it?
Oh, it's plenty wide as long as they're side by side, not end to end.
Yes, as I do agree with that one. I think we had 8 cars in one line from the outside wall to the inside wall, but either way, you're gonna have to get yourself ready. You're moving on, Jared. So we'll give you the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll see you another time. But we'll let you get back to it. And thanks for hopping on in and talking to us here in this little break.
No problem. I got to give you guys something to do while we're waiting for the next session.
That's right. So what we are going to do is go to another advertisement here on the iRacing Esports Network. Will it be the BMW, the fancy new one? Will it be some of those really cool stock car ones? I don't know. We'll have to find out. Hugo's the only one that knows. But for myself, Cam Walsh, David Haynes, Nolan J. Rempel, stay with us. We have got the European Split Major Series, the big races, coming up in just a few moments' time. Don't go anywhere. How are you doing? That's the real question. We're doing all right. We have just cleared 2 heats, 1 last chance qualifier. Now we are setting ourselves up for the B main. We have got 100 laps around the Bristol Motor Speedway here in our super late model. 81 degrees now is the temperature in the air. 84 degrees down on the track, and we have got the sun has been going down. The lights are getting turned on because the sun is setting. Have a grand old time here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and thank you for making us part of your day here on the iRacing eSports Network, RaceSpot TV. Hugo Louis doing all the production and the fancy stuff. And of course, it was a BMW commercial. By the way, it's myself, Cam Walsh, it's David Haynes, it's Nolan Rempel, and well, boys, we've had an interesting one after the other. We had some pretty good running there, but then it all kind of went sideways repeatedly, and Nolan, it was a situation where we just had caution after caution, but let me tell you, it turned out to be a pretty decent finish, oddly enough. And you can see the sun is setting in the background, which is a new thing, which I love so very much. Even for the old boys, they love it. But yeah, that last race was good fun. Well, we're going into the future. This is going to be 100 laps here in the B main, I had thought. I don't believe this is the A main.
I think it is actually the A main that we are a part of right now. As we can see, the sun is indeed beginning to go down, and we did have a lot of yellows in the last race. The question is, now that we are coming up on the main event, will we be able to have some more green flag runs rather than having yellow after yellow? And more importantly, will we be able to have any more tire strategy going on in this race than what we obviously saw in the last one? Not much different tire strategy in the last one, since we spent more than half the race under the safety car, I believe.
The stickers are still on those tires, actually. So I think more than half of it. But either way, we're going to have 100 laps around this Bristol circuit. I'm pretty sure that this was going to be the B main, but this might be rolling into the A main. It might have gotten smushed into one singular main, and instead of just having the plan of a C main and then a B and an A. But I'm sure we'll get the word momentarily, but that's all right. One way or another, it doesn't really matter because, well, it's 100 lap, super late model action here at Bristol, going into the night, and we are going to be getting the race sorted out and started relatively soon. We have got 1 more minute, and David, we got big names here. I'm presuming that this is probably going to be the A main then, because I'm not sure where we get the rest of the field for the A main. So let's get this thing rocking and rolling. I mean, big names: Dawson Brock, Christian Chandelier, Dave Walsh, Travis Henderson, etc., etc. Eric Mickey comes to mind. This is going to be a pretty dramatic event if they can keep this green.
Yeah, exactly. 100 laps, sun setting, get your snacks, get your drinks. This one's going to be good. If we have, for example, off the start, 25 or so green laps and then get a caution, then a lot of the guys towards the back will have to start thinking about, do they want to come in and get a brand new set of tires? Because once we get, you know, maybe 20 or more laps onto a set of tires in a green run, that really does take the best off them. And if you're right at the back, you take a new set of tires, then for a couple of laps after the restart, you'll be bordering on unstoppable. You'll be able to make the high line work, the low line work, really get the power down off the corners a little bit better. Let's take a look at your grid though, Cam.
Yeah, let's take a look at the grid, and I think we've cracked it. We've cracked it, folks. This is the A main, and the B main's going on at the same time. That was we're not doing that one after the other. We are doing the A main. So we got that figured out, and it's a happy ending after all. It is Christian Chandelier. He's going to be starting in the first position. Riley Thompson is going to be starting his outside as he pulls his car out and ready to rock and roll. Then you've got Eric Mickey, Dawson Brock. Then you got yourself Dave Walsh, Darwin Mance, Travis Henderson, João Valverde, Kurt Crum, Adam Faciomonti, David H. Baker, Matthias Magnussen, Evan Osborne, Colin Marzolf, Corbin Solomon, Trevor Vovorski, who are, I believe, are still fighting for whomever is going to be leading that position for starting 15th. Jean-Francois Arsenault will be starting in the 17th position. Yildiz Puticlas, Gabriel Roos, Jared Morgan will be making the A main here this time. Michael Lane will be starting the 21st position, and Matthias Bandola will be finishing out this 22-car field. Cars are rolling, and Nolan, if you're one of these cars in the mid-pack, just how prepared are you to be taking evasive action in these first couple of corners?
Well, I'd say after the last chance qualifier we've had and the heat races, I would say you need to be extremely prepared to be able to take some evasive action. But let's be honest, there really is no way to prepare for what kind of evasive action you have to take. You might have to go high, might have to go low, might just have to slam on the brakes and just hope you don't run into the back of somebody else. So there's definitely almost no way to really prepare for a race like this. And of course, our last chance qualifier proved that. And of course, we are going to be seeing as well. I don't think we're going to be seeing as many yellows, to say the least, because this is, of course, now our main event. So these drivers are going to probably try to settle down, maybe get themselves all sorted out into a little rhythm here. Not saying we're going to be short of them, though, either.
Lights are out on the pace car. We are going to be going green. Christian Chalnier is going to be taking us to the starter stand under the green flag here as he is getting ready to rock and or roll. As Christian, in that very first heat, he just absolutely punched it as soon as he could, as soon as that pace car went out. I'm not expecting any different here, as Riley Thompson, that TDR car, Eric Mickey in that bombshell machine is going to be looking at to make the counter here as we're going to get ready to rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's super late model action here at Bristol Motor Speedway with the Major Series of the European Split, and we are green, Mr. David Hines.
Yeah, exactly. In theory, this is the 22 best drivers we've seen all night, and it's a pretty clean start. Christian Chalnier is getting away, but the battle for second, Riley Thompson has Eric right behind, and it's a 2 wide behind that. Great action all the way through. Some of these guys might be scraping that outside wall, but the racing stays green and it stays fast and furious here at Bristol.
And Christian Chalnier has got a 3-car length gap over Riley Thompson because he's running super low side as I'm seeing some sparks kick out of the side of the Dawson Brock 83 machine. Dave Walsh is on his inside as they're fighting for what is the 4th position here. Eric Mickey, he's running up that high line, but I feel like Dawson Brock has a little bit more speed. That's why he keeps ending up stretching out. There he hits the outside wall yet again, so that super late model is not going to be happy if he keeps hitting that, as we've got 1 car turnaround. It's the 381 as João Valverde as he goes up to the high side. Colin Marzolf finds him, and that is going to bring out caution numero 1. And Nolan, well, we are up to lap number 5 of green flag running, but unfortunately, a little bit of contact.
Yeah, we made it further than we did the first time, though, so I guess that's something to say the least. So it was Kurt Crum that turned Colin Marzolf into the outside wall, and then unfortunately, sorry, no, it was Colin Marzolf that actually hit João Valverde. After Valverde had been turned to the outside wall, and there's the replay up on your screen to show that. It looks like the 10-car of Trevor Vovorski might also have some damage on his car as well from making some little contact with the back of Marzolf's machine.
Yeah, now these cars, because normally we don't, you wouldn't really look at anyone whom has an incident because, you know, the time is so short and the heats and et cetera, et cetera. Well, we do have 1 fast repair. They're going to get that João Valverde machine, the 381, in. They're going to get it fixed. At least they should get it fixed. Oh, they're going to put tires and fuel and everything like that. That's probably should have remembered to not do that because he's probably going to go a lap down now with this track being so small. But we are looking to see how the restarts are going to be. I'm presuming it's going to be single file restarts, but we will yet to be seen, as João Valverde is actually going to be heading out without taking his fast repair, so perhaps he's expecting something more disastrous in the future. But David, we had a decent 5-lap jaunt to start that, and we saw a lot of interesting lines, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a good start. My eyes were, for a lot of it, on Dave Walsh in the 842. He was making a lot of progress closer down towards the apron compared to everyone's preferred line of right up high against the wall. That's why he's managed to jump one spot at the expense of Dawson Brock off the start. So Dave Walsh now finds himself in 4th place in the TDR entry. Behind that, a lot more positions changed place. Kurt Crumbs grabbed himself 1, David H. Baker has gotten himself 2, Evan Osborne and Colin Martsolf have both grabbed themselves 3, Trevor Vavrovsky is now in 12th place, having grabbed himself 4 spots. So a little bit of green run is all they need in cars like this around a short oval like this one for a couple of spots to change hands.
Yeah, most definitely, and yes, we are single file restarts. That should keep the caution count low, which is what we like to see. So, we have got Christian Jallier, Riley Thompson, Eric Mickey, Dave Walsh, Dawson Brock, and my keyboard. As you can hear, it's always great on the commentary, but Riley Thompson has a little bit of a trouble getting through the gears. That allows Christian Jallier to get right on through. Everyone packs up. They almost go 3 wide. Eric Mickey has to defend the inside against Dawson Brock, and here comes Dave Walsh. Dave Walsh wants to run the outside line, but he's not going to be able to get the power down because they just started here, so the tires are going to be cold. But everyone gets underway here as we are still single file for the majority of the track. Everyone's running somewhat high, somewhat low hybrid lines. Trevor Vavorsky's kind of still doing his little slingshot high-low thing, and he's trying to get by the 405 of Colin Marzoff, and Nolan, we seem to be green.
We do stay green for the time being. Dave Walsh does manage to finally clear Dawson Brock around the outside, going onto the back straightaway. So he's going to be hunting down the number 88 machine of Eric McKee now. And this could be interesting to see this fight for 3rd place start to heat up overall as well. Dave Walsh trying to go for the high-low, but Mickey goes on the defense and goes down to block. And here you can see in the back there as well, Dawson Brock trying to make something work on that inside line. He's going to go through and clear Dave Walsh on that inside line. Dave Walsh still there. We have one other car down into pit lane as well. It looks like that might be the 381 machine, maybe going down to fix his damage. Dave Walsh still fighting back on that outside line.
Yeah, and Dawson Brock is just covering that inside. He's able to get the power down. The track is a little bit hotter than it was in that 50-lap run, so we're perhaps seeing that outside line coming into play, but we also have to remember it is getting dark out, David, and these cars, they will have to turn all of their headlights on, and we always remember, you know, if they don't have their headlights running, they have to come down pit road and serve a penalty without their headlights on, right? Oh, wait, no, that's sports car racing, and none of these headlights are running. So for these cars, I mean, there is going to be a substantial track change as Dave Walsh is finding himself surrounded. As we're on board with Dawson Brock right now is Eric Mickey. You will see is that first car in that outside line, and Dawson Brock is going to get the nose cut off by Dave Walsh. Dave Walsh will try to slingshot up. He could have come up and slammed the door and put Mickey into the outside wall, but that would have caused a massive incident. But Dave Walsh, I think, is understanding. He just rides the inside. He should be all right, as the yellow flag is going to be out. Didn't even get to talk to you, which is unfortunate, David. We've got Michael Lane and Corbin Solomon. They've gotten themselves together. I see Jared Morgan also involved, as it looks to me like what has happened is Michael Lane nipped Jared Morgan, and that ended up collecting Corbin Solomon.
Yeah, a little bit of a shoulder check there. The 62's come up maybe just a little bit higher than number 96 car Jared Morgan was expecting. Or maybe Jared Morgan's come down a little low. It's always hard to tell from just the one angle, but either way, those two cars coming together, costing both of them quite a bit. Sends the Jared Morgan into the outside wall. He bounces off that into Michael Lane. I'm confusing the two together, mixing them together as if they're one person. So unfortunately, brings our green flag running to an end. Just as it was getting very good around the top 10, it sees Joao Valverde and Corbin Solomon onto the pit road again. Haven't seen any strategy pit stops yet, other than this one from Joao Valverde, but he was already quite a bit down. So this is new tyres going onto that 381, and also probably maybe he needed some more repairs on that.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to see, do we have an onboard looking at the driver instead of out? Do we have one of those? because I want to point something out here that's that is at least decently important. Whilst we're waiting for the caution laps to tick on by to get us back under green flag running. Yeah, okay, I do see it. Now, can we look down slightly? Just down, just a little bit. Just a bit down. Just more down than that. Just more down. Keep going. Keep going. There should be a water bottle there. Are you on the water bottle? Did you mount? You mounted the camera on the water bottle. That's rude. How is he supposed to reach that? How are you supposed to reach the water bottle when you have the camera right there? That is so rude. So Hugo Louis, apparently being a jerk, Christian Chalnier, he's planted the camera on his water bottle. But anyways, I was going to make the point, David, that, you know, you gotta stay hydrated in this thing because, I mean, it's not necessarily physically tasking to drive this car around in pacing laps. It is mentally stressful as heck to be doing these restarts one after the other, and at some point your nerves do start to get shot. You need to remind yourself to kind of take it easy, maybe grab a drink.
Yeah, 20 laps done. That means 10 miles in the books, 40 to go. And when we get racing once again, you've got to be ready to jump right back on it, have all of your wits about you, have no hesitations. Saw one car jump onto the pit road back there. I think it was Michael Lane potentially coming down to take some more service. I'm not sure, but we're going to have a single file restart as after these corners are coming through 3 and 4 now. Cam, we're about to go racing once again.
Oh boy! Alright, so we have got Christian Chalnier, we have got Riley Thompson, Eric Mickey, Dave Walsh, Dawson Brock, Darwin Mintz, as the green flag is out once again here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Christian Chalnier getting a pretty good jump off of that one. Riley Thompson hugging in the middle of the racetrack as Eric Mickey goes high. Dave Walsh goes low and he pays for it. Dawson Brock power around that outside. Actually, Darwin Metz wants to power on the outside as well as we are under green one more time. Nolan, we look like we've got a packed start because pretty much everybody's side by side already.
Yeah, just about, and Dave Walsh, as you said, paid the price for going low on the start, still trying to make something work, really holding his own against Darwin Mintz. Not quite able to make it work. You know, listen, Mintz will clear him going into turn 1 this time, but Walsh dives it in, trying to make something work, trying to make that inside line work for him. I think he's going to have to look to the outside, though. Meanwhile, up front, Dawson Brock also looking to the inside. He's trying to get around Eric McKee in the number 88 machine, who, again, that outside line really coming into play here. So, as we discussed in the heat races and in the last chance qualifiers, that outside line definitely seems to be the place where you want to be right now.
Yeah, these super late models, the car is basically rolling. If you can picture a diamond, right? Just rotate that diamond. The diamond tip is going to be that right front tire. This car is not taking it like you would normally take the car at a highway or something like that. This car is actually shifting with the tire pressures and the suspension and everything like that to rotate the car. The rear ends on these things are sticking way out, even if you can't see as the yellow flag comes out, as I see the number 405 parked in the wrong direction here, and I believe this is an incident, David, with him and the number 666 machine.
Yeah, Colin Mutzoff, maybe he's done that all by himself, had a little bit of a wiggle, and then unfortunately collected one of the other cars there. Was looking at the 666. Oh, just the tiniest of rubs on the rear quarter. Has unfortunately given a bit of a wiggle to Martzoff, and both of them have paid for it. No, not really the fault of either driver there. Just unfortunately, when the cars get close like that, that happens. Very, very close racing, and unfortunately they've paid for it. Sometimes it's great to watch, and in that case it's cost both of those drivers of Ulda Putakalis and Colin Martzoff.
Yeah, most definitely. So that puts us under caution one more time, and I will say, Nolan, one thing I have noticed is that when we're having cautions much like we did before, but these incidents are really racing incidents, as it were, rather than impatience incidents or silly incidents where you go, what on earth were they thinking, or anything like that. You have to kind of consider this to be kind of par for the course. And I know some viewers out there, I'm sure, would want to say, oh, this is why you don't want Europeans in stock cars. I can tell you, and you can also, I'm sure, to add to this, this is pretty par for the course for short track oval racing. These cautions, they happen, they bunch the field up, they cause more cautions, but that's part of the drama of it, isn't it?
Absolutely, that's just going to be a part of it's just going to be a part of the drama as things go on. And I think there are a couple of reasons why we haven't been seeing as many yellows. For one thing, like you said, there are not as many impatient incidents because, well, we're not in a last chance qualifier. All these drivers are in the main event, so all these drivers, they're going to be getting points towards the championship and everything. So that's one thing, of course. So they are going to be fighting for points in the championship. But there's not as much impatience trying to get to the front because there are a lot more laps in this race. We're not even at the halfway point. We're just over the quarter-way mark, actually closing in on 1/3 of the way through this race. So there's still a lot of time for a lot of these guys to work something out. As well as that, the single-file restarts, I think, might play a key factor into that as well because that means they're not already side-by-side going into the corners, just getting up to speed.
Yeah, and then the tires are going to be coming into play and et cetera, et cetera. So if we can get the big zoom out, and you can actually you can see the sky pretty good right here in this camera angle. You can see that we did have that fiery red sunset in the background is now shifted to a shady, moody blue here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and you can tell just by looking at the light quality on the racetrack, it has now been taken over by those gigantic lights that you can see there at the top. Don't stare at them too long. Really don't. You did, didn't you? And you can also see that iRacing blimp. Hi, blimp. So we are going to get ready to go green one more time as we are going to be finishing out lap number 33, clicking on to lap number 34 as we pick up the green here after a 2-car incident. And I'll bring out caution at number 4-ish. So, Christian Chandelier, he is going to be getting ready to try and punch it. He's right in the middle of the track. He does just that, and Riley Thompson's got nothing for him. So Eric Mickey wants to perhaps impede. He'll go high side. Riley Thompson goes low side, and it's always interesting, David, how these cars split. It seems like half the field dives high, half the field dives low, and it's always kind of interesting to see how they want to take this track.
Yeah, precisely. This is a great angle on board with Dawson Brock. Everyone's staying high relatively here, but some like Darwin Mines or Dave Walsh behind have been interested in diving down low, and we saw some sparks in the mirror on the onboard. Someone's collected the outside wall, potentially it was Travis Henderson behind. We stay green, we stay racing for the moment. These cars can take a little bit of a hit and keep going, thankfully.
Now, Mine's going to the inside of Eric Mickey, and Dawson Brock wants to follow. And actually, Darwin Mance will take the nose off of his teammate, and that is going to allow Dawson Brock to run to the inside line here, and he's going to possibly climb up. No, he doesn't close the door, even though he could have. That actually costs him, because Mickey's going to come on that outside line now. Meanwhile, Nolan, you have got Christian Chandelier. He has gotten about a second now, and he seems very, very comfortable in that kinetic racing car. And I have a feeling it's not going to be too long before, if this stays green, he's going to have to start contending with some of this lap traffic.
Well, there's no doubt about that for Christian Chandelier. He's definitely been very, very fast off of these starts, and he's continuing to be started. He's held the lead for the entirety of this race. Started first, currently still in first by just over a second. So that 73 machine definitely looking very, very strong out front. The field behind them beginning to run more single file with every passing lap.
And that's not a bad thing, as Christian Chandelier is, of course, your points leader right now. Gabriel Roos is in the second position in your points, but he is running in 15th position here today, as that is not a kinetic 1-2 that you would expect. You actually, pretty much the majority of the kinetic cars are sitting here in the very back of the field here. There's Jean-Francois there in the middle of them. Obviously, Puticlus had an incident, and I believe actually Bentola also had an incident. So that's why they're sitting back there, as here comes Puticlus on the inside of Jean-Francois, who did such a good hard charge towards the end of that race. And after almost 20 minutes of racing here, with a couple of cautions sprinkled in, David, it looks like we've got ourselves finally the good green flag run we've been looking for, as the middle of the pack is still right on, as Travis Henderson is side by side with Kurt Crum.
Yeah, I think as we have a longer run, the tyres wear out a little bit more, it becomes a teeny bit more of a one-groove racetrack. We don't see as many desperate moves, as much side-by-side running, but when we do, the battles are very, very close. And now someone's around on the background there. That's going to bring out a caution. We did just have a good, more than 10-lap green flag run. Good things must come to an end sometimes. Here's your replay, Ken.
Yeah, and this is just Evan Osborne in that Coyote machine. He's just getting a little bit loose on the corner exit. Car kind of the tire kind of held in a rut, and you can almost just see the car. It kind of hit a rut, then he tapped the outside wall, put him to the inside, and he spun around. And I believe, other than Trevor Voworski in that number 10 machine, everyone was able to get woed up in time, and Nolan, that's a good thing. We did not want to see what we saw in that 50-lap run where the entire field -5 was involved.
Oh, absolutely not. And going back on that spin with Trevor Osborne, I think Evan Osborne, excuse me, I think one of the things that might have contributed to him going around is he actually smacked the wall pretty hard coming off of turn 4, so that might have unsettled his car coming into turn 1, which would explain why he was so loose. We have a lot of drivers in for tires right, though, as David Haynes has just pointed out, and this is where we're seeing tire strategy finally coming into play.
So, for people who weren't able to get that, you had Christian Chandelier stay out. I believe that almost was a sabotage sort of thing. Then you have Joel Valverde, who was in 9th position. So you had positions 1, 9, 10, and a couple more past that stay out. So, what we are going to have is very fast drivers on brand new tires behind some of the mid-pack drivers, David, and this is going to end very well.
This is an interesting one. The strategy is finally coming to the fore here. That 381 car in 2nd place now is Joel Valverde, pitted under some of the earlier cautions right at the back. So I'm seeing he's now 30 laps into a stint. His tyres would be around 18 laps newer than Christian Challoner in front of him. So by pitting at one of the earlier cautions and then staying out this time, and presumably also making some positions on track, he's now in 2nd place in the 381 car, but with slightly fresher tyres underneath him than everyone else in front and behind him. Now in a very interesting position.
Yeah, and I have to say, this is interesting, not just for that. I see pretty much all of the Kinetic Racing cars have let themselves get slotted up to the front here, as Puticlus, Roos, and Bandola all up into what'll be the top 7. So how it's going to stand for this restart? It'll be Christian Chandelier, João Valverde, David H. Baker with a Gresley. You've got Adam Facioponte, you've got Colin Marzolf. Then you got Puticlus, Roos, Bentola, Solmonson. Riley Thompson is going to be your first car that has pitted, basically. And you've got Mickey, Brock, Mintz, Henderson, Walsh. It goes on and on. Kurt Crum, Jared Morgan, John Francois, Trevor Voworski, Evan Osborne, Matthias Magnussen, and Michael Lane is out of this event. 26 laps down. So we have got the lights out on the pace car as the pace car pulls in. Christian Chandelier gives it a 1 Mississippi count, and he lets it roll to the line, and he gets that green flag racking and rolling. And we are here on lap number 51. We are halfway through our A main here for the Major Series short track nationals with the super late modifieds. And Nolan, already some heavy action between Colin Marzolf and Adam Facioponte.
at Carlin Marzov driving around the outside. Now he's trying to drive it in underneath David H. Baker. Doesn't look like he's going to make that work for him. He might have to slide up here and get right in with Uldis Putikelis and Adam Fischiponti. He's going to be looking to go onto the inside here, potentially the outside as well, as they come through these corners just after the restart. Oh, so close between the 666 and that 405 machine of Carlin Marzov going off in turn number 2 onto the front straightaway. We got big trouble in the background. Looks like we could potentially have a pile-up.
Started with the number 14, Gabriel Roos is the Kinetic Racing car that's facing the wrong way on the start-finish line. And a lot of the cars behind there, Cam, just didn't have anywhere to go.
And that happens so very easily here, as yeah, that 14 did look like that was kind of the fulcrum point of this incident here. We'll see if we can get a clearer replay as they just started piling up here a little bit further back. There we go. So they are coming down the backstretch here, and it looks to me like Riley Thompson just wanted to run that inside line, and unfortunately Gabriel Roos, I think he was expecting it was going to be a little bit higher, made contact, and that basically started it, and that's from 7th position all the way back to 16. We're basically all in one big scrum, and the rest of the field kind of came on through. So for Gabriel Roos, not going to be happy with that one, but you know what, that does happen. And David, it just seemed to me like well, you kind of expect your competition to take one line, and they don't, and it's no fault of their own because they're riding their line.
Yeah, right. It's gone and shuffle things up a little bit in a race where, you know, it got sufficiently shuffled at the last caution with half the field coming in to the pits. So of the cars that came into the pits last time around, Riley Thompson's now back up into 7th place with the freshest tyres of the cars around him. But it's looking pretty clever from Christian Challoner to have stayed out if the cautions keep coming. Cautions breed cautions, we know that, we say that. It's a bit of a cliche at this point, but because it's true, because it happens. So I think it's a real gamble the 73 cars taken staying out, and at this point, you know, if he pitted under this caution or the next one, it's probably too late. All the eggs are in the stay out basket, and he's got some cars from behind that are going to try and chase him down. And I still maintain that the number 381 of Joao Valverde is in a good spot, but so is the number 4 of Uldis Puteklis. His tyres are now only 26 laps into their stint. They're about half the age of the leaders.
Yeah, and it's great information to have. I mean, these cars, maybe for a 25-lap heat, obviously, new tires, old tires, not going to matter. Maybe for a 50-lap run, okay, you know, it might be something, but for this 100-lap race, it's definitely going to mean something, having brand new tires, which, I mean...
Right, because they all start together.
Well, they do.
Can't talk and yawn at the same time.
I can't. I'm talking so much that I'm starving my brain of oxygen. As I mean, people might not know that, but that's what a yawn actually is. A yawn is a forced impulse from your brain that basically says, "Give me more oxygen," in which I say no. You get enough oxygen. So either way, pace car lights are going to get turned on off. And Christian Challoner will get ready to rock and roll here one more time. We are going to be starting lap 60. That means we are going to have 40 laps to get to the finish line here. Does that mean that we are going to be getting there in one green flag stint? We'll have to find out here on the iRacing Esports Network. You're watching Race Spot TV. Just kind of a mid-break thing because we didn't do commercials. I'm Cameron Welch. That's David Haynes. That's Nolan Rempel. That's Hugo Louis. And this is the European split of the Major Series. The Short Track Nationals here at Bristol Motor Speedway. As we are green, Christian Challoner takes the green flag. And Joao Valverde, he didn't want to get anywhere near his teammate, understandably so, and that means that David H. Baker is going to be sitting far behind. We're watching on board here with Adam Fasciaponte. At the start of this race, it gets super quick, super fast. We got to understand this is a half-mile racetrack, and these cars are hitting about 140 miles an hour before they get off the throttle and roll through into the corners. And Nolan, looks to me like we've got maybe a 7-8 car breakaway at the start of this run.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that is kind of crossing my mind right now is, are we going to have more cautions now that we're in the last half of this race? I'd almost expect that we would, because drivers are going to be much more aggressive in the latter half of the race, trying to figure out what they want to do, trying to figure out how to make up those spots much more quicker. As Fittipaldi tries to drive it in underneath Dawson Brock, not quite able to make something work. He's going to keep on trying, though. I feel he's going to have to just go to the high side and wait for him to reel in the gap.
Yeah, and I see Matias Bandola there, the 113. I think he's hit the outside wall because he's got some damage and he's lost a couple of positions. Travis Henderson getting by him there as he goes from the 9th position back to the 11th position. As Kurt Crum is, who's also carrying a bit of damage, wants to get a by. He'll slingshot to the inside of the 113. He's going to now creep on up the track, as I believe maybe somebody hit an outside wall or just scraped it. Travis Henderson did. As we are staying green, and David, I think finally for once we've gotten this thing where we can end up having a conversation with the whole commentary team at one point and during one green flag run. That's the first time we've been able to do that this whole session.
Yeah, 5th and 6th changing places here. Riley Thompson, I believe, the car down low. Colin Mutzoff in the 405 up high. Great recovery from him. The incident he was involved in earlier brought him down onto the pit lane, and then he stayed out when everyone else came back in. So he's got pretty new tyres. He's recovered from an accident and now running in 6th place. It's Colin Mutzoff trying to hunt down Riley Thompson for 5th. They've both taken tyres so far in this race. It's Adam Faciaponti further back who hasn't yet. And some incident happening further down in the field. I think we're staying green for right now. This battle continues. Dawson Brock trying to hunt down Colin Mutzoff and Riley Thompson. The battle for the top 5.
And battle in the 15th position is Darwin Mintz versus Evan Osborne. Osborne was involved in that incident some time ago, as Osborne and Mintz is working with Corbin Solomon in their out of their front windshield here, as the yellow flag is going to come out just as we were getting to that. And
Mutzoff around.
Mutzoff around. So that's going to be the number 405 machine, and I believe, did he have help doing this? Oh, he was trying to cover it, Nolan. Unfortunately, Dawson was there, and when they were coming off the corner, that's where they made the contact.
Yeah, it just came off the corner and turned that 405 right around, and Dawson Brock tried to avoid it, but there was a secondary hit to that 405 machine. That's what set it up into the outside wall. I almost want to get a look on board Dave Walsh, because while he did scrape the wall, he just about collided with that 405 machine of Colin Mutzoff. So incredibly close call for Dave Walsh, because that could have been much, much larger than it was.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I almost want to see, is there any way you can get that in slow motion? Because I'm looking at it in the frame-by-frame, and let me tell you, that is what we consider in the professional lingo. I don't know who's the professional here, but in the professional lingo, close, David.
Yeah, there was a super late model gap, and he went for it, and he's still a racing driver, so you see that one. It was so very, very close. Now, I saw the incident that led to it as just Mutzoff maybe just coming down a little bit too tight on the exit of the corner. And of course, contact the right front of one car to the left rear of another. Doesn't end well around here. That is exactly one super late model's width between the 405 car and the wall, and it is exactly where Dave Walsh put his car. He was fully committed to having to go the high side of that wreck. It was too late to turn down to the low side, and he was lucky that that was, in that split second, the correct decision.
Absolutely. Nobody has gone down pit lane. We're on lap number 73. It'll be that we are only going to have 25 laps ish by the time we get to our green flag. And Nolan, we've been having good 7-8 lap runs, and that's been good. It has been good. I have to say, David H. Baker, I see, has moved from 11th position all the way up to 3rd. And a couple of other cars have made some pretty decent moves, but overall, this has been a pretty decent race, I have to say, and we've had some pretty exciting action.
Oh, we absolutely have. We've had a lot of action, have a lot of passing. We've had a few incidents here or there, but the action has really been where it's at, especially in this main event and in the LCQ as well. We cannot discount that finish we saw in the LCQ as well, because that was truly something else. And do you think, with the aggression that's slowly going to begin to ramp up, do you think we could actually see another close finish like what we've been seeing?
I mean, the problem is that you actually look at the window. I mean, the green-white checkered is not something that is in the iRacing service. So when we had that, it was sort of just a happenstance. So you look at that 15-second window of when that caution can come out. 15 seconds later, you're going to finish under yellow. 15 seconds before, and you're going to have 2 green, then 1 white. But it should hopefully be a good ending to this. And I have to say, I mean, for Christian Chalnier, he's led every single one of these laps, and he's going to lead some more here as we cross the start-finish line here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I lied. I see that blue stripe with the blue cone, and I think that is the restart zone. That is not. That's the pit merge line. But the pace car is now going to be looking to take a left-hander into pit lane. It does as such. Christian Chalnier will give it a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. João Valverde will keep that gap between him and his teammate David H. Baker sitting right there. Ulrich Bouteklis is right there as well. And we are green one more time, David. And already Christian Chalnier has got a pretty massive gap, but the rest of pretty much everybody is getting smothered by their competition.
Yep, and here's the battle back in 11th. Adam Fassaponti is right up behind Eric Mika, Kurt Crum. These guys in a season-long championship battle. These points matter to them. And of course, the Major Series does all manner of different sort of famous world events, from road racing to this sort of short oval stuff. So it really tests out a driver who's talented across the different disciplines, and we're looking at the top 5 now. So Ulrich Bouteklis is in a battle. Riley Thompson. Riley Thompson has got some of the newest tyres of all the cars out there. And he's in the number 58 car. He's trying to make it work on the low line to get some passes. But because the 66 and the 33 are battling side by side, it's giving him nowhere to go. Dawson Brock gets a bit of the outside wall as well. This is so fierce from third on back.
Yeah, and David H. Baker, he's running that super high line with another 3. And then you've got that Bouteklis and Riley Thompson inside line, which is interesting. It's allowing Kurt Crum and Eric Mickey time to catch up. And that means that for Christian Chalnier, João Valverde, all I have to do 20 laps to go is just focus on hitting their marks, because here we go. A little bit of contact between Dawson Brock and Ulrich Bouteklis. Dawson Brock's going to run to the inside. He's going to try to force his way through here. That's going to allow Dave Walsh to creep on in. Dave Walsh wanted to look to the inside. Bouteklis was not able to do that. A big bump to David H. Baker from Dave Walsh, and that is going to cause him to spin out and crash into the inside wall. And somehow, through all of that spin cycle, Nolan, was simply for one car only, and that is David Baker.
I think Dave Walsh is actually pushing David Baker throughout the entire corner, because I saw some tire smoke going up as well, and then pushed him right into the outside wall and finished him off coming to the front straightaway. One driver that should be counted as lucky stars is Ulrich Bouteklis, because he almost got clipped by Dave Walsh as he, by David Baker as he came down across the track. I think, yeah, the nose of the car actually went underneath the back bumper of that 666 machine. So another inch forward, and we would have had at least 2 more cars caught up in this one.
Yeah, definitely, and that would have pushed pretty much that would have pushed the 666. You can see the brake glow off of that car, as also the race bus sticker. Hi, that's us. As if he got clipped, that 666 car would have gotten spun to the outside line. That would have collected pretty much everyone following. So we're thankful that that didn't happen. But I will say, we're looking at lap 85 right now. That means, David, when we get to green, it probably should be maybe lap 89, maybe lap 90.
Yeah, around that. So we're going to have just under maybe a 12-lap sprint to get to the end. Christian Chalnier, he's still out there in the lead. Basically the only car, yes indeed, the only car out there that hasn't come down onto the pit lane yet this race. He's got his teammate João Valverde behind, who's got about 20 lap newer tyres, but behind that in third, Dawson Brock has tyres that are 45 laps younger than Christian Chalnier, and we saw through that last green flag run, Dawson Brock moved himself up from, I think it was 5th to he's now in third. If he can keep that momentum, and if we have a green flag run from here to the end, Christian Challoner's going to have to be careful. He's going to have to get a good restart, build a little bit of a gap, and be able to hold on to that. And some cars behind, fresher rubber, and something to prove, a bit of attitude as well.
Yeah, most definitely, and we saw pretty much from the drop of the green there on that last green flag run that pretty much everybody, minus Christian Challoner and João Valverde, were really locking horns, and understandably so. Time is a ticking. And it's understandable to me that, you know, some car gets spent in the spin cycle. Unfortunately for David H. Baker, it was him this time, but who knows if it'll happen again or whom it will happen to. But Nolan, what we are going to do is come to you. Christian Challoner doesn't have any tires. He's on the same set of tires. Fuel, to me, is never an issue. It's 100 laps. I mean, they have 22-gallon tanks. It's fine. How are those tires going to be working? Because he's able to pull away as the lights go out. So very quickly, how do you think this is going to work if anyone gets past João Valverde?
Well, I feel if it is Dawson Brock or one of those other drivers with newer tires like Riley Thompson that can manage to get by Valverde, then it could be a very interesting fight for the lead, because Challoner, he's proved that he's really, really good off of these starts, and that is really what's been helping him out here throughout the course of this one.
Yeah, most definitely, and that commanding lead that he has is just what he is able to use to really just get comfortable as the pace car pulls in for hopefully the final time. Lap number 89 is going to be the start of this one. 11 laps to go here in the Short Car National A Main here at Bristol Motor Speedway, the super late models of the International Split of the Major Series here on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Christian Challoner has got himself already a 5+ car length lead over João Valverde, but Dawson Brock is right there, and Dawson Brock really wants to go. He needs to make that decision to move. He moves to the inside out, and we have a yellow flag. I see Jared Morgan is around the number 96 machine. Did he have help? I don't believe he did. I think what had happened, David, is David Baker was kind of coming to the inside. No, he just kind of ran out of track on that one. The damage from before catching him out in the end.
Yeah, it's gone up high. He scraped the wall, and then that sort of upset the car and sent it to slide back into the wall, and he's nearly fully mounted the barrier on the outside of the track. Has brought out the caution, not damaged anyone else, and it looks like the 96 car continues on. Jared Morgan, but yeah, unfortunately bringing out the caution, and that's how it is. But tough run for Jared Morgan.
Well, it is. I'm surprised a lot of these cars haven't gotten have not really gotten their cars fixed, which is surprising to me. That, you know, every single time these guys come into the pit, I think it's because they're counting on, you know, something bad happening and needing to completely replace the car, or they maybe have already done it. But, you know, I just figured that they probably would use the quick repair at some point or another. But for Christian Challoner, I mean, this is now going to be 5 laps, Nolan, that he's got, that he's going to have to worry about it. I don't know what the number 3, the position 3 car of Dawson Brock has got for João Valverde or Christian Challoner, but I don't think there's going to be enough time, even if he does have a faster car.
Well, that's what I was beginning to think as well, because Challoner, he just gets such a good jump off the start. It's almost like he's got like a rocket engine propelling that car when they hit the green flag. So I genuinely don't think that anybody really has enough time to catch Challoner. If there were another 25 laps, 50 laps of this race, maybe they'd be able to make something. But at this point in time, I think Christian Challoner's got this one all wrapped up.
And David, do you have anything to add to that?
Time is running out, isn't it? You know, it takes laps to get a pass done, to get it sealed, and Christian Challoner's done exactly what he's needed to do off all of the restarts. Sure, he's got the oldest tyres out there. He's the only driver to have not changed a set. All other 21 cars have been down pit road at least once, quite a few of them twice. So, you know, it's going to only be a few laps that Challoner needs to hold on. If Lightning McQueen can do it, then Challoner can.
Most definitely. Sure. But I will say, as these headlightless cars are racing into the night here at the well-lit Bristol Motor Speedway, I do have to point out that we are looking at a massive bunch of cars, basically from third position on back, that are not only quick, they are, well, they are fighting it for championship points. So lights are out on the pace car for what will most definitely be the last time today, because if it comes out again, we're going to finish under caution, or if we get to the white flag, we get to run it to the checker. So we've got Christian Chalnier, who has led every single lap of this short track nationals race. You've got Gilles Valverde, his teammate, who has been giving him quite a buffer on the restarts. You've got Dawson Brock, who I think has understood that at this point, so should be prepared to dive to whatever direction Gilles Valverde doesn't in order to get the jump. He's got to pass him as soon as possible. The pace car is already on pit lane. We're off and running, and that's not how you want to do it if you're Dawson Brock. So Christian Chalnier has got the jump, and he's got the lead, and I think, David, he might just hold it.
2.5 miles to go. Challoner does have a good lead. He's got Valverde as his rear gunner. Dawson Brock, fresh tyres, not doing much with it right now. 4th place, Aldous Petekelis, up 14 spots, and 5th, Dave Walsh is very, very close. Dawson Brock now goes to the inside for 2nd place. He's got the fresher tyres. 381 will get a better run off the corner. Them going too wide for 2nd position is great for Challoner, who continues to skip away.
Ready to go, and Nolan with Dawson Brock on that inside. The inside just doesn't seem to have any power, and now Puteklis wants to get around the outside. Oh,
no, absolutely not. Oh, caution's out!
The caution is out, and that, my friends, is gonna do it. So, Evan Osborne, the 341 machine with Colin Marzoff, will end up bringing this one out. I think they just made just enough contact to get Evan spun around, and unfortunately that car spun back into the track and got absolutely clocked by Corbin Solomon or by Gabriel Roos. As the microphone got stepped on by the dog once again. Thanks, Zoe. We appreciate you very much. Gabriel Roos clocking Evan Osborne, and that is, unfortunately for all of us, going to be it. I was excited to see what Dawson Brock was going to be able to do there, if he was going to be able to hold over Peteklis, or Peteklis was going to want to challenge Valverde for that 2nd position. But meanwhile, the pace car goes past the backstretch onto corner number 3, which means that we are going to be, unless we already crossed the start-finish line. I don't believe we have. Nope. Okay. All the cars were starting to stack out wildly, so I was getting all concerned that I had missed something, but nope. The Kinetic Racing cars want to get on by here, so that is going to be Christian Chalnier. He will take the victory here at the Bristol Motor Speedway for the super late model short track nationals. And David, I have to say, it's unfortunate it finished under caution like that, but at the same time, I don't think there was any doubt. I think it wouldn't have felt right if it would have been Christian Chalnier.
Yeah, a great little staged photo finish there, I guess, from the guys. Always a bit disappointing to finish under yellow flag, but you can't take anything away from Christian Challoner. Obviously, he was flawless in his heat. His qualifying was very strong, and not a single foot wrong in this race, leading all 100 laps, if you discount all the ones that the pace car led. A little bit of support from his rear gunner and his teammate. I think the biggest winner here, your hardest charger out there, Aldous Peteklis, coming from 18th on the grid for a 3rd place finish. The last car on the podium, up 15 spots.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And Nolan, now last comments from you, because I know you're going to be heading out momentarily before we get to the final race results and the ad and whatnot. I mean, 100 laps here. I have to say, for what we had, it was pretty good.
Oh, absolutely it was. This was definitely a very exciting race, to say the very least. And Christian Challoner obviously proving again what a great driver he was. Led every single lap of the race. So absolutely masterclass performance from that 73 car here today. Is he going to burn it down on the front straightaway?
That's right. Now let's take a look at the finishing standings here as we're looking at Christian. Well, we're looking at the billboard is what we're doing. Christian Chalnier. As here we go. There's a race winner parked on the legendary Bristol Motor Speedway. Start-finish line, it is Christian Chalnier after 100 laps, 45 minutes of running. The number 73 car will take the victory. You've got Jal Velverd will finish in second position. Lourdes Puteklis will come home in third. Dawson Brock comes home in the fourth position. Dave Walsh will finish fifth. Travis Henderson comes home in the sixth position. Riley Thompson, after starting in second, comes home in the seventh position. Kurt Crum, Eric Mickey, Darwin Mayance, Colin Marzoff, Trevor Vavorsky will finish in the 12th position. Adam Facioponte, David H. Baker, Jean-Francois Arsenal will finish 15th. Gabriel Roos in the 16th position. Jared Morgan 17th. Corbin Solomon in the 18th position. And then you've got 1 lap down is Bandola. 3 laps down is Osborne. 9 laps down is Magnuson. And then 78 laps down, Michael Lane in the 22nd position. We are going to take a quick break here on the iRacing eSports Network. You're watching RaceSpot TV. It's been the Major Series. Don't go anywhere. We've got post-race interviews coming up in just a few moments of time.
there wasn't going to be enough time for where tires was going to be an advantage, and basically I was never going to be in the right place if I'd have taken tires. Like I had the lead, I had the advantage, I had track position, I was able to get good pulls on restarts and build myself an advantage that basically offset anybody that got tires. So if maybe I would have been knocked out of the lead or something, then I was going to pit, but otherwise no.
I believe I have to kick Hugo. Hugo, I don't think literally anyone can hear us.
We're good now, Cam. We'll keep rolling.
We're good now. Excellent.
Christian, so
sorry.
I mean, a win's always a win, and you know you'll take that. But in the broader stakes, in the championship standings, obviously it's very close between you and Gabriel Roos and Matthias Magnussen coming into this round, but they've not had quite as strong a showing at this round. It probably increases your lead by just a little bit, adds another win beside your name. In the makeup of the championship for the Majors series, do you think you're stronger for the road courses or the oval courses, and what does this give you for the remainder of the championship?
See, I would really say that I would be stronger for the oval rounds, but based off of last year, the problem with the oval rounds is that it's just a lot more. There's a lot more ways things can go wrong, and that kind of offsets maybe that I'm faster on the ovals. So really, the road races, I think I'm able to get top fives rather than always going out for the wins and things like that, which means that they're actually better in terms of their more consistent points days. But Gabe is really good on a lot of the road stuff. I mean, you saw with the Daytona prototype in the first round, he was really fast. So it's going to be probably close between me and him, especially in the multi-class races. But I guess maybe my oval pace gives me a slight advantage.
Early days in the season, but is there a round coming up later on the calendar that you're really looking forward to, maybe a car or track combination that you really enjoy?
I think the most interesting round I think we've got this year is the Lotus 49 round, which I believe is at Milwaukee. I definitely think that's going to be kind of wild, because for sure not that many people race that. So I guess if there's one to look forward to, just a pure how is this going to work, I think that's probably it. Otherwise, I guess it would be I believe we still do V8 Super at Bathurst, and I really like that. So I guess that's probably the one where I'm looking forward to the combination in terms of driving it the most.
Well, congratulations on your win here in the Short Track Nationals. Good luck to you in the remainder of the races here in the Majors series. Any shout-outs, any thanks?
Really all the guys at Kinetic, they tried really hard for this round, and they put together some really good setups, and I think they showed right there with the 1, 2, 3. I think organization was brilliant. Everybody kind of stayed cool, and I'd really give them a shout out, because they're not really oval races, so that we were able to pull off a 1, 2, 3 was really cool. I'm really happy for those guys that they got a ton of points out of this.
Awesome. Well, there we go, Cam. A great result for Christian Challoner, and looking forward to some of the rounds later in the Majors series, which of course everyone can catch here on the iRacing Esports Network.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Christian, on a very well done race. And what are you talking about? I mean, you're saying that people don't just fire up the iRacing simulator, fire up Milwaukee and the Lotus 49? I mean, I thought everybody did that. I guess not. Either way, we'll round out the interviews with Jal Valverde, as he did a wonderful job playing rear gunner, as it were, for the Kinetic Racing team. Nobody seemed to have anything for Christian Challoner, so I say that somewhat jokingly, but it just seemed that every restart he was able to just absolutely pull away from not just you, but the rest of the field. So I guess that means then really you kind of had the run that's the best of the rest, which, I mean, is not a bad thing when you're talking about how difficult a car this super late model is to drive.
Yeah, especially being my first proper oval race, I can be very, very, very happy with that result.
Absolutely, I can imagine. You started in 8th position, a couple of cautions and the pit cycle and whatnot. You were able to get on through. You didn't come in when everyone else did, and yet you really were able to hold that. Was that kind of did that kind of take you by surprise when everyone went into the pits and you stayed out? I mean, obviously it paid off, but I imagine you had to think about it at the second there.
Yeah, it was a bit shocking, but at the same time, as soon as I saw everybody dart in and Christian staying out, the best example to follow, so I decided not to pit. I had relatively fresh tires and worked out perfect.
Well, that it did. And this is your first oval race. You're going to be going to the Nürburgring, which is an entirely different kind of oval race, right? It is technically a circle eventually, but overall, I mean, it's the Nürburgring 2.4 hours, and my goodness me, that'll talk about going from one extreme to the other. You're going to be ready for it?
Yeah, I hope so. I tend to put around 5,000 kilometers of practice on this thing, so if I'm not ready after that, I won't be ready ever.
My goodness me. It's only a 14-lap race? That's crazy.
Well, yeah, but
I know it's going to take. I know it's going to take 2.4 hours to do 14 laps. It blows my mind every single time. I always see the lap count. All right. Well, will you be racing the Porsche, the Kia, or the Mazda MX-5?
The Porsche.
Gotcha. Well, we hope to see you running up front there here at the next Majors Series event next month. And, well, congratulations here in Bristol, Tennessee in the Super Late Model. Anyone would like to give a very quick thanks to before we let you go?
Yeah, the guys in the team, they've been just legends throughout all the preparation, coaching me during the race. So a big shout out and a big thank you to all of them.
All right, Jalva, thank you so much for hopping in the booth and giving us your time. And we've got one final interview to do. That is Dawson Brock, the first finisher that wasn't a kinetic racing car. And Dawson is going to be standing alongside David Haynes.
Dawson, a great run late in the race there with fresher tyres than some of the cars ahead of you, but maybe just not enough green flag laps to stand on the podium this time?
Yeah, I would have liked to see a couple more. You know, like you said, the fresh tires. We made the decision, as kind of in general, we thought after about 50 green flag laps, we were worried about our car setup-wise, handling-wise. So we made that call around lap 40, lap 50 to bring it in, get them fresh tires, and hopefully drive back up through the field. But that second half, we just had too many cautions, and I would have loved to see one more restart and have a shot at getting at least into second.
Well, 21st in standings coming into this round. Obviously, 4th place isn't bad. Well, in quick summary, probably what's your favourite thing about racing in the Majors series?
I love the diversity that you have. You know, you can have, like, you see Blake Reynolds, Christian Challenger, stars of this series in general, pro drivers on one side of the ball, but you need to be a well-rounded guy. You know, I came from more of an oval racing background, but racing in this series has taught me that, you know, you got to be well-rounded. You know, you might be in an old F1 car one week, and then all of a sudden you're in a dirt sprint car the next. So being a well-rounded driver, it just improves your skill, and I love the new experiences. It pushes everyone to try new stuff and improve your racing craft.
Right, well, thanks so much for coming in, having a quick word with us. Anyone you would like to thank on behalf of yourself or your team, or any other shout-outs?
Yeah, I know I kind of mentioned this before. I just want to thank the Grizzly guys for getting me a good car this week and, you know, really giving me a chance to race up here and get a good finish today.
Thank you so much. Cam, it's just occurred to me that it's Mother's Day in the UK and Christian Challenger didn't thank his mum.
Wow. I have a question for Dawson.
Yeah.
Why aren't you going faster?
Why am I going faster?
No, why aren't you going faster?
Why aren't I going faster?
Come on.
I don't know.
Come on. There were 3 other people. I mean, come on.
3 other people? Okay, well, I don't know. Like, are you saying on the track? Like, just
yeah,
I didn't have
enough
track.
Speed? Yeah. Go around Bristol faster.
I don't know. I wasn't exactly comfortable. I didn't have much practice this week. I would have loved to see a little more. I think I heard you guys mentioned the car was scraping a little bit with the sparks and stuff. That's how we wanted it set up. Apparently, when we brought it up higher, we didn't go faster. But I wanted to get that first win, Cam. I really did, but it just wasn't in the cards today.
I'm just messing with you. It's a very good job. Finishing in the 4th position. You did a great job here tonight. I mean, with how much chaos was out there, I just it's amazing to get a top 5, let alone finishing in the 4th position. So great job, and we'll see you at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, thanks guys. Love your broadcasts.
So with that, I am Cameron Walsh. He's David Haynes, all the way over there. I'm pointing very far to Australia, by the way. That's Hugo Louise down in Brazil. And, well, thank you, everybody. I have a little bit of to throw in there, because, I mean, I have to, sorry. But it's March 31st, 2019, so today is the Trans Day of Visibility. So, trust me, they're out there. I see you. We see you as well and support you and love you. So, take care. There's more people than you know. Anyways, with that, it has been the Major Series, the European region. The people behind it, all that on your screen. Nick Thyssen Doji apparently is helping us out. I feel like I'm missing a meme there, but either way, this has been the iRacing Esports Network. This has been RaceBot TV. This has been Bristol Motor Speedway Super Late Model Action. And again, congratulations to Christian Chalnier. Started first, finished first, 45 minutes of action. And my, oh my, was it a grand old challenge. We'll see you in 1 month's time at the Nürburgring for 2.4 hours of action. Multi-class running. It's going to be a good one. Stick with us. Take care and have a good one.